everybody. Welcome back to another exciting installment of Arcane Archive presents MetaTalks. We are your illustrious, enigmatic hosts, Adam,
Sam,
and we are exceedingly excited about today's topic. One that me and Sam would most likely be able to just powwow and drone on about for days, most likely, at a time, if we could. Specifically, the topic of D&D 5th edition classes. Today, we will be basically doing an introductory kind of just overview of D&D 5e classes for, like, you know, anybody new or even maybe some veterans, kind of just going over the classes, brief overview of their descriptions, kind of like what they're about, me and Sam's kind of thoughts and feelings on each one. We might also like choose like a subclass, like one or two from each, and like, you know, ones that we really love, and then ones that maybe, you know, are
either
hot,
love or maybe some sort of fixed.
Yeah, or hot garbage, you know. Yeah. Either way, like we'll find out when we get there.
They're a handful.
But let's go ahead and just dive right on in. And to start, we figured we'd choose one that is no doubt a fan favorite. It is certainly mine. But it's definitely
favorite class.
It's definitely up there for most people, I would say. The Wizard. And as the Wizard, wizards are supreme magic users, defined and united as a class by the spells they cast. Drawing on the subtle weave of magic that permeates the cosmos, wizards cast spells of explosive fire, arcing lightning, subtle deception, and brute force mind control. Their magic conjures monsters from other planes of existence, glimpses the future, or turns slain foes into zombies. Their mightiest spells change one substance into another, call meteors down from the sky, and even open portals to other worlds. Now, if that doesn't just kind of say it all, I don't know what will. But yes, this particular passage is correct. Wizards, I would say, are definitely like, of all of what I guess I call like the prime casters, and this being like, not full casters, mind you, but prime casters is, you know, I consider those to be wizards, clerics, and druids. Specifically because those three classes have like the ability to basically be like, hey, every day we can choose and change out our spells. The amount of spells that we can cast at any point varies depending on our actual spell casting ability attribute. Whereas no other casters technically have that same thing.
It does not work the same way for
but wizards are definitely, I think, some of the most interesting and, well, clerics definitely are up there too. I was going to say some of the most versatile.
Oh, I mean, wizards have the access to the longest spell list out of any class.
They do. Now, obviously, the caveat with that is they, unlike clerics and druids, they don't have access to all of it right away.
Yeah.
One thing about wizards, for any of you who are maybe planning on playing a wizard, first and foremost, I definitely don't think they are a beginner level class. For anyone who's like,
you don't think so?
I mean, if you want, like, if you're a person who very much loves a lot of like more complex or complicated things to like figure out and have to keep track, like, yes, like wizards are exceedingly fun, but they are also a lot to keep track of.
I would say it takes the most prep work before you start a session.
I mean,
when you're making a character, you really have to think what you're doing when it comes to wizard. There's a lot of options, a lot of choices you have to make every time you sit down to play, which is not a bad thing.
No, and again, like I said, one thing too being like, I feel like almost clerics, at least at the beginning, probably are even worse for that, because again, because clerics, you instantly have access to
every spell.
Everything right away. Whereas with wizards, you technically only have access to like the limited that you have. However, what I do love about wizards and what's cool about how Dungeons & Dragons, how Wizards of the Coast have like really created this class type in the game is they are all about learning. It's all about you learn and are able to cast these spells through your hard work, through your intense study over years or whatever. And the class itself represents that really well in terms of its features, which is really cool. Wizards, again, they only learn new spells when they level up. They only learn 2 new spells every time they level up. Other than that, in order for you to expand your spell list, in order to use more things, you have to go out in the world and find the spells. Like, find another wizard or another magic user even. Not necessarily just a wizard, I think. Just any
as long as it's
part of the wizard. Yeah, as long as the spellcaster or the spell that's being cast is part of the wizard spell list, a wizard can potentially learn how to cast that spell, which is really cool. However, they also have a lot of other things about it that's like you do have to keep track of the fact that, when you level up, you have to make sure that you take only 2 spells because it won't necessarily do that for you. Yeah. It won't stop you, and it won't do it for you. So you have to be very honorable yourself on like, hey, I learned 2, and I have to keep track of that. And you also, obviously, to be fair, I feel like this class is a little bit beholden to the whims of the DM a bit, obviously. I'm being like, because obviously as a wizard, if you're trying to go out and find new spells and your DM just is not cooperating with you and being like, yeah, I wanna go learn like some spells at the library. I wanna go find like a teacher or a class or something. Your DM's like, yeah, there's nothing here that you can do. It's like,
yeah, I mean, I've seen it done in friendly ways and not so friendly ways. A lot of times, those are things that, depending on your campaign, you may not come across them very often.
Yeah,
but it means that if you go into a weird dark tomb and find an ancient book with a bunch of stuff in it, there could be a spell in there.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly hope so. I mean, like, where else would you find ancient dark spells? But, moving on a little bit from that, from more mechanical aspects of a wizard on their table. So starting out at level 1, you obviously instantly get both your spell casting trait as well as your arcane recovery feature, which is very helpful. Essentially, what the arcane recovery is you have the ability, and only, I believe, one other class can do this, and it's specifically a subclass of the druid, but you are able essentially to recover your spell slots over a short rest, not including the warlock, but over a short rest up to a certain amount, I believe, tied to
your level.
Yeah, your level. Half your level rounded down.
Rounded up.
Oh, rounded up. Perfect.
And none of them can be 6th level or higher.
Yeah, they can only be 5th level, which is fair. Again, 5th levels are plenty powerful, and obviously being able to like recast 9th level spells after a short rest would probably be pretty crazy. But that is exceedingly helpful for spellcaster, and especially if you also tie that in with like being like any kind of elf or fey creature, where it's like, hey, you did, for instance, like you cast a pretty high level spell. You short rest real quick to get arcane recovery back, and then you can continue to rest even maybe for a long rest with your trance. But those particular things again lend credence to making the wizard one of the most diverse spellcasters, because it allows them, even without getting all of their stuff back, still having a nice variety. Because once you get to a high level, like you could literally cast like all of your 1st level spell slots, all of your 2nd level, and still get all of those back. As opposed to like, even though warlocks get their spell slots back at a short rest.
Yeah, we only get like 3.
Yeah, I think like at max level you get like 4, like
5, I believe.
4 or 5,
plus
like 5th level
mastery.
5th level spell slots, and then you get the mastery for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
But still, it's basically an ability that keeps your day going.
Yeah,
especially if you've had multiple encounters.
It allows you not to be so sparing with your spells, which is very nice, especially for some of the other classes that we're going to talk about down the line who don't have as much freedom with that. But yeah, overall, Wizard is definitely probably my favorite, as well as I'm sure plenty of others. Deliberately for the fact that their spell list as well is just so diverse and expansive. Like Sam said, they have the largest spell list of any class because they do incorporate a number from others, but it also just allows them to do so much different types of things, which is very nice. But yeah, continuing on, for the wizard table, you get your arcane tradition, so essentially your subclass at level 2, which is unlike most other classes. Most others either get it right away or at level 3.
Yeah.
Which I think they actually might be switching up for one D&D, apparently. I think they're saying that they're going to do level 3 for every class, maybe.
I would argue that most campaigns don't start till...
No, I agree, and I also feel like, I mean, for me personally, I'm always a contender for like, why play at level 1? Like if you're really,
because you can die really easy.
yeah, I know.
That's the fun part.
That's the dumb part, Sam. Like you fucking made this character and then you die right away.
Yes.
What is
you
the
make another one?
What is the point of that? There's no point in that.
You know, as someone who's died at level 2 a couple times.
I don't doubt that, and I'm sure it was your own damn fault that it happened.
No, I just build characters for flavor, Adam.
So do I, Sam, but I'm also in flavor about, hey, your character doesn't want to die, Sam, in flavor.
It's not my fault that my level 2 melee dwarf sorcerer got killed very quickly.
You don't know what it is, because you're level 2 melee dwarf sorcerer?
He had armor on.
Oh, did he? Was he proficient with it?
Yes, because he's a dwarf.
Okay, good,
He died
good.
so fast.
He had armor doesn't mean he's invincible, Sam. That doesn't increase his health points. Moving on.
You died so quickly.
Yeah.
His fire was snuffed out before.
Yeah, again, you have no one to blame but yourself. I feel. I don't feel I can really offer you any kind of comfort here.
The
Moving
rest
on.
of the table for this is not super exciting until the end.
No, well, that's kind of wizards, and honestly,
It's the spells.
yeah, exactly.
A lot more spells than
Wizards in
everyone
general.
else.
Again, another reason why Wizard probably isn't the best for beginner players is they have the lowest of all hit dice, D6.
Yeah.
And starting out at level 1, all you get, you have 6 health points, plus if you ended up having, by the luck of the gods, any con at all in your
Let's say you do it correctly, you have a 14 or a 16, that's going to be either 8 or 9 hit points at level 1.
Yeah.
So you get crit by a goblin, you die.
You die. Instantly. Now, unless, of course, maybe you take, I guess crits technically would always hit regardless. Because I was going to say, you could take shield to help offset.
I'm sure you could.
Because it's also like, your AC is probably not going to be great unless you take mage armor. Because, wizards...
Even then, not going to be great.
Wizards don't get any proficiency with any armor.
No.
At all. So, most of the time, unless, again, a specific subclass, but for just baseline wizards, you are not going to have any protection, really, at all at lower levels, except for, the shield spell.
Oh, yeah, it's a rough one.
But, yeah, at level 3, you don't actually get anything special, specifically except for just level 2 spells at that point, which is nice, don't get me wrong, for sure. That is when things start to pick up a little bit, like when you get spells like Scorching Ray, invisibility, all kinds of other things.
What picks up for me is 5th level.
Yeah, that's where it picks up for everybody. Not even just spellcasters.
Pretty much every class.
But every class at 5th level. 5th level is when you get access to 3rd level spells, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, that includes the iconic spell of Fireball. That is when...
Haste.
Yeah.
All the good ones
haste.
that just ruin encounters.
They really do, but they make them so great for the characters that do them. Let's be honest. That's when things start to get truly epic in any D&D game.
Because again, you want to just ruin a whole farming village, all you have to do is get to level 5.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Easy.
Cast Fireball on
twice. You could do it twice.
Just decimate an entire region.
Yeah, if you wanted to, you really could. You could burn entire crops. Just for the hell of it, if you wanted to.
Love magic fire.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? That's why it's iconic. And again, it is deliberately made to be overpowered, especially for that level, because of its iconicness.
And anything can kill you in about 3 hits.
It's true. So again, to be fair, you're offset, right? It balances itself out because you are a literal glass cannon. Yeah. At 6th level, you get another of your Arcane Tradition features, which is nice, depending on whatever subclass you chose. That's great. Your spell slots your 3rd level spell slots also increase, which is nice. Just more fireballs to go around. 7th level, you get access to 4th level spells, which is actually pretty nice. There are a number of really cool, intricate 4th level spells that are dope. I believe, is Dimension Door 4th level or that 5th level?
4th.
Okay, yeah, Dimension Door. Love that spell. One of probably the best teleportation, quick teleportation spell. 500 feet in any direction that you choose. You don't even have to see where you're going. You can just do it. And you can also take any creature of the same size or smaller with you, or an object as well. 8th level, that's when you get another ability score improvement or a feat of your choice if you would like. Your spell slots increase slightly as well. 9th level, that's when you get access to 5th level spells, also super fun. 10th level, another Arcane Tradition feature, pretty easy and nice. 11th level is when things get even more interesting once again, because you get access to 6th level spells. And 6th level spells change the game once again. One of my personal favorites being Disintegrate.
Ooh.
That's probably my favorite, like, offensive arcane, not even just arcane, any offensive spell is Disintegrate. Like, it does so much damage. So cool. It is the epitome of, like, you know, the iconic fight between Goku and Frieza. You know, just a death ray from Frieza just shooting that thing.
It's a save or set spell, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
That's another. But the thing being is, you roll. I believe it starts out at, what is it, like 10d6 plus 40.
Yeah. No, if you hit, you're
and
good.
So if you hit, like, not to mention, if you drop any creature to 0, they are gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
They're ash. Literally, they are dust, and they can only be revived from a resurrection or true resurrection. I think. I don't even know if resurrection can do it, because I think it has to be true resurrection, because true resurrection can still revive something if you know its name. You don't have to have a piece of it.
Yeah, reincarnation works too.
Does it? I thought you have I have to have a piece of them for reincarnation.
Oh, you
too.
might.
Yeah, because
depending on your DM, they might know that you use the ashes.
I was gonna say, I think for reincarnation, because it's a 5th level, you still need a piece of them, and they have to be, like, you know, less than 10 days or whatever. But yeah, like, you can only bring them back through true resurrection, I think, with a Disintegrate, and it's just so much fun. It's my favorite. 12th level, just another kind of ability score increase. 13th level is when you get 7th level spells. Again, another really great. You get spells like Feeble Mind, new spells that were introduced in Fizban's guide, which is like Draconic Transformation, which is incredibly amazing. Pretty busted, actually, in a lot of ways.
Delayed Blast Fireball.
Oh, God. Delayed Blast Fireball. Just more fireballs for you to use. Just more fireballs.
I would like more fireballs.
Fireball solves every situation, or so I have heard.
You can also make a mansion.
You can make a mansion. That's always fun. Well, I mean, honestly, I always like tiny hut anyway. Like, why have a mansion? You can just have a nice.
You can have a whole house with ghost servants, and they make you dinner.
Yeah, but
or
you can have a nice tepid, and like kind of dome.
Yeah, you can sit on the floor. Sure.
Yeah, but it's always comfy. It's warm. You know, it's always comfortable in there. And it's a ritual spell, so you don't have to spend a spell slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But house though.
Yeah, but cool. You know why you can't see the stars in the giant mansion?
In my house you can, because the whole ceiling is stars.
Oh well, I mean technically the magnificent mansion goes into a separate plane of existence.
Yeah, they're not real stars.
It's fake. It's fake, Sam.
I made them up.
Want the real thing?
Yeah, I mean you also get into things like teleport, symbol.
Teleport's awesome.
Plane shift.
Plane shift is amazing.
Simulacrum.
No, yeah.
Do you want a snow buddy? You can have a snow buddy.
Yeah, I love a snow buddy. Who doesn't want to build a snowman?
Reverse gravity, that's a fun one.
Reverse gravity is interesting. Honestly, though, I still feel like, I guess
prismatic spray.
I feel like prismatic spray is fucking. I feel like reverse gravity, like, people sleep on it, but at the same time too, it's like I feel like there are so many ways to get out of it if you have access to them. Like, again, at that level, I feel like there are plenty of things that can still fly at that point.
For reverse gravity.
Yeah, like, because again, reverse gravity is amazing if it's like, for instance, if you have a super high ceiling and you're just like, shoop, and they just fall 100 feet, for instance, and they'll take all that freaking fall damage, and then you can turn it off and they'll fall again. But again, say for instance, if anything is flying, like, I don't know if that, I know there's been a bit of a debate about that on, like, if reverse gravity interferes with flight of creatures, like, who can just move outside gravity anyway.
So I'd argue you still have to make a save.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, continuing on, 14th level, you get your final Arcane Tradition feature, which is great. Usually this one's like the big one.
What do they call it?
It's the kind of like the
Cornerstone.
No, it's like the I know what word you're thinking of here. Magnum opus. It's like
that's another one, but that works too.
Yeah, it's like the magnum opus. It's the pinnacle of your subclass features, and usually, again, for wizards, it's usually pretty awesome for whatever you're doing. I know, like, for transmutation wizards, for instance, like, they get their bonus, like, a huge boost to their transmuter stone.
Yeah, they can, like, revive people.
Yeah, they can do, like, panacea. They can, like, literally revive and get rid of any ailment or prop disease, whatever. Like, they get the ability to, like, cast, like, a big spell through it or something, like, without expending a spell slot, or even get slots back. It's pretty awesome. And then for 15th level, again, that's when you get your 8th level spells. And honestly, these are like a lot of the times the spells that, ironically, for a lot of classes, at least for most of the other spellcaster classes, these are actually kind of the spells that are probably going to do like the most big, heavy damage.
Yeah,
like this is like your Finger of Death. This is like your what else?
I'm looking through it right now.
Like Whirlwind, I believe, which is a huge one.
Well, a lot of these, they're not. So that's the funny thing. Power Word Stun's on here.
Powered, I love Powered Stun.
Word Pain is 7, Stun is 8, Kill is 9.
Yeah, again, Stun busted.
8 for a lot of classes. Unfortunately, like, yeah, there are some good ones, but there's not nearly as many like appealing ones at 7th or 9th level.
Well, I was going to say, I think for a lot of other spellcaster classes, like their 9th level slots are actually pretty underwhelming.
Well, that's because they don't have...
Exactly, but again, I was saying, with like Arcane spells, 9th level is where things go insane.
I mean, you get Clone.
Clone is
Control
nice,
Weather,
but
Demi-Plane.
Again, all of those are still pretty, like...
Feeble Mind.
Well, Feeble Mind is, that's what I said, Feeble Mind is freaking awesome. Feeble Mind is great. Is Feeble Mind 8th level or not? Or
8th.
Oh, I thought it was 7th level. My fault. But yeah, no, Feeble Mind is amazing.
You could just, send someone to a labyrinth with Maze.
Maze is pretty funny, actually. Like, they're just stuck there. But yeah, moving on. At 16th level is when you just get an ability score improvement. 17th is when things go absolutely badonkadonk zonkers at that point. You get your 9th level spell slot, and of course, if you have any sense whatsoever,
you take Wish.
You'll just take Wish, and you win the game.
No, my favorite...
No, you don't just win the game with Wish.
No, I love the True Polymorph pick.
True Polymorph.
Because you can make all your friends dragons, and if they don't change it, guess what? They're stuck like that forever.
Yeah, they're like, well, unless somebody, like, dispels it in some way with like a wish or a greater or something like that. I forget exactly all of the different things that can do it. But yeah, it can be dispelled, technically speaking. But no one's going to think to do that, because why would they assume that a dragon was originally anything else other than a dragon at any point? They're not. So yeah, you just true polymorph your party into whatever you want over the course of several days. And yeah, you have an entire party of giant dragons.
Also like Shape Change.
Shape Change is totally awesome. That's definitely a fan favorite, because again, the cool thing about it is it is concentration. However, you can still change at any point to anything else within the period of that concentration. So you could be, and again, it's tied to your level, so any creature that has a CR rating of whatever your level is, you can turn into, and you can just switch. You can turn into a dragon, adult gold dragon at one point, and then turn into like a freaking a fiend.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Cool thing is, you can still cast spells.
Yeah, and you can still cast spells. You can you can still use your class features in that new form, which is incredible. Another great one, the highest damaging spell in the game, Meteor Swarm.
I was gonna say Prismatic Wall.
No, well. It can be if you like, for instance, if you use like the whole, reverse gravity.
If you push someone through the entire
if you do like reverse gravity, prismatic wall combo, yeah, that would probably be the highest damaging thing in the entire game. But the actual highest one is Meteor Swarm. Yeah. That thing it's literally just 40 d6 of damage. And half of that being fire, other half being bludgeoning, and it's it's everywhere. Like you can. I literally actually in my D&D game that we're playing yesterday, we got hit with a meteor swarm actually, and it was pretty heavy duty. And you can I just realized researching it recently, you can cast that shit inside. I always had the image that it was just giant meteors that you just called down through a portal, but they were huge. And that's why they could hit a 40-foot radius, whatever. But I was like, oh wait, no, you could just cast them inside. I guess you could hit them all in the same spot if you wanted to. But I thought they had to be different spots. But no, you can just cast all of them inside on the same spot.
And just kill whatever's right there.
Yeah, or basically. But anyway, moving on. 18th level is when you get Spell Mastery, and honestly, this is where I personally feel, and this probably happens with most classes, that this is where the cool kind of stuff caps off. With Spell Mastery, you literally are able to cast first and second level spell, one first, one second level spell, as many times as you want at will without expending any spell slots.
Yep.
And so that's amazing. Like I've been planning on doing that with Misty Step, Shield.
Yeah,
Literally,
and it's
you
also
just become.
You can change them.
Yeah, no, you can, and which is really cool. So you could. Now I'm sure plenty of people are going to do silvery barbs, for instance, just infinite silvery barbs.
Oh, that's terrible.
Infinite silvery barbs.
Nothing else.
If you want infinite invisibility,
yeah.
if you wanted, and it's pretty amazing. And then for the last two, just another ability score improvement, which is nice, always nice. And then for their final 20th level Apex feature,
It's Capstone is the worst.
Capstone, yeah, Capstone. Signature spells, and all that is, you get to choose 2 third-level spells that you can cast once without expending a spell slot. Ta-da!
Yeah, it's not.
That's it.
Exciting.
That's it.
I mean, a free fireball is fun.
You can literally just get a
free flies.
necklace of fireball, and you could do that, and
But
you can do it more times.
I know, but that one, it goes away if you use it, and this one
Yeah.
never goes away unless you die.
It goes away for a day, Sam. Goes away for a day.
Not if you're mighty and you're mean and when you use the last one, it breaks.
Yeah.
Every time.
Uh-huh.
I don't like those items where it's a finite money.
No, I agree. It's not the best.
Because I always roll poorly when I use
But
the last
but at the very least, it's like this is such a subpar.
To be fair,
capstone.
what are you supposed to give the man who has everything? Because at that point, you're basically a god.
Make them allow them to cast their level spells infinitely. You know?
That's not fair. You already have Wish. I don't know.
Well, you can only cast Wish once, and again, technically, if you do it without casting a spell below 8th level or below, you have a chance of one, never being able to cast Wish again unless somebody else wishes that you can. Or you also suffer like your strength score goes down to 3.
You're already like that anyway.
For like 1-4 days. Screw you. Okay. And you basically are exhausted, I think, for like a 3rd level exhaustion or something like that for that same amount of time. Like, you suffer quite a bit for screwing with the fabric of reality beyond which, whatever. Whereas, with
I'm not saying this is a completely even trade-off.
Oh, yeah, clearly, yes.
That's why you don't take Wish. You take the other best spell.
No, you take Wish.
True Polymorph.
You always take Wish, okay? Because you can still True Polymorph if you want.
That's a 9th level spell.
Yeah, no, but you could do it. You would just suffer those effects I just listed earlier.
I'd rather just be Dragon.
Yeah, no, but you could be Dragon, but also have, infinite Wish power, too.
Well, then you need a buddy who also has Wish.
Yeah, no.
Wait, if you have Clone, and you make a clone of yourself, and your original body casts Wish, does your next body... is it still
yes,
able to cast Wish?
it's your body. It's not like you're not making like a simulacrum.
No, but hear me out.
Okay.
You have both Simulacrum and Clone.
Uh-huh.
They get your full spell lists.
Yes.
So, in theory, if you fuck up and just never cast Wish. Make the other guys cast Wish.
Well, okay. That's the thing, right? I think that, because now you're talking about doing like the infinite, like, Simulacrum Wish combo where you can make infinite...
I'm not doing anything.
Simulacrum, like that stuff is literally banned in like Adventurers League because of that crap.
I don't play anything.
Because it's like, no, agreed, me too.
Also, never had a 9th level spell.
Oh man, dude, they're fun. They're fun. I admit.
Let's see.
But that, in essence, that is the wizard. Whole table and the like. That is what you will get for your class features. As I said before, your hit dice, simply a d6. Proficiencies, you get no armor proficiencies for weapons. You get daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, light crossbows, no tools. Your saving throws are going to be intelligence and wisdom. You get to choose from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, Religion for your skills. And yeah, starting at level 1, you get 3 cantrips of your choice and 6 first level spells to start. You do get access to ritual casting, which will save your butt, and it's really great and amazing, because that is one thing about the wizard that's cool. You don't need to prepare your spells to ritual cast. Like any spell that is a ritual cast, you don't need to prepare it, unlike, I believe, for druids and clerics, you do need to prepare them to still cast them as rituals.
Yes, because you're going in from a book, so it doesn't really matter.
Let's see. Anything else? Arcane traditions, not. We basically went through all of the big stuff. So yeah, at this point, let's go ahead and choose our favorite subclasses real quick, just to kind of talk about, and maybe one subclass that we don't like or feel like could use a bit of a tweak. Would you like to go first, bud?
Sure. I mean, I'll pick like a favorite of mine, which is divination.
Okay. Divination.
It's the paranoid. I'm only gonna roll good on the dice. Don't talk to me. Like they get things where they can save dice rolls and add basically mess with the flow of battle.
Yeah, no, I mean, divination wizards are literally the ones that are just saying, like, oh, you rolled a crit? No, you rolled a 1, bitch.
Yeah, because I rolled that 2 days ago.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to use it at that point.
and I kept it, so, no, you did the best you could do. Well,
hey,
this is the worst you could do.
This is for you now.
Yeah. They're the party poopers, man. I love it.
In terms of my, like, least favorite is probably either Conjuration or Illusion. They're just not...
They're very underwhelming compared to
is,
many of the others.
Even Divination and like all the other schools are a little underwhelming compared to the newer subclasses.
Oh,
because they focus on one school of magic, where it's like more magic scribes. Like they focus on fun things. People have argued the viability of your favorite subclass.
Oh, have they?
Yes.
I mean, well, allow me to go ahead and dive into it then. To all the naysayers, my favorite wizard subclass is the Blade Singer, as a matter of fact. Blade Singers, I mean, like, they're just so much fun. Like, for me, I'm also always a person, I love magic. I'm absolutely, almost in any fantasy medium that you'll see me interacting in, like, I'm almost always going to try to be the guy who can, like, cast some spells, be the mage, whatever. But I also really do love melee combat. I'm all about that stuff. And so I love any classes that allow you to have a little bit of both in there. And previously, the wizard, despite being my favorite, like, casting class, just never really had much capability to get much melee in there.
Nope.
But with the introduction of Xanathars, you got the Blade Singer. And the Blade Singer allows you to do, as you might, interpret from the name, use a blade and shit like that.
Stab people.
Yeah, training in Warren's Song, the 7th level feature, you gain proficiency with light armor, proficiency with one-handed melee weapon of your choice, as well as performance skill, if you don't already have it. And that's for wizards in general, that's huge. Getting an armor proficiency, like, that immediately increases your survivability at level 2. Like, that's
why you
great.
Take 1 level fighter and then 19 in wizard so you can be Iron Man.
Yeah, no, I mean, you'd be Iron Man with the artificer armorer thing now, but yeah, back in the day, back in the old days, back in the OG days, yes, or Paladin. You took Paladin and then wizard to become that Iron Man input. But one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing of this class, is the Blade Song feature, which is honestly pretty busted, in my personal opinion. You can invoke magic called the Blade Song, provided that you aren't wearing medium or heavy armor or using a shield. It graces you with supernatural speed, agility, and focus. So basically, as a bonus action, and it lasts for a full minute, you are able to essentially gain a bonus to your AC equal to your intelligence modifier. So that means not only as you increase your primary stat to your offense, you also will do it for your defense. Capping out, most likely, for most people, if they get it up there to a 20, you'll have a +5 bonus to your AC for your intelligence. Your walking speed also increases, plus your dex and any light armor or other robes that give you AC provide you. But your walking speed also increases by 10 feet, which is great. More speed, awesome. You have advantage on dexterity acrobatics checks if you ever need to do some cool, dope acrobatic stuff. Or maybe get out of a grapple. You gain a bonus to any constitution saving throw you make to maintain your spell concentration on a spell. And that also equals your intelligence modifier. So if you're holding like any concentration spell with your Blade Song up, you can also add your constitution saving throw modifier to that. You can add your intelligence modifier to your constitution saving throw as well. Incredible. Fantastic. Starting at 6th level. So unlike most other classes where they get 5th level extra attack, you get extra attack at 6th level. And you can attack not only twice, but also you can instead cast one of your cantrips in place of one of those attacks. Now, also take note, it doesn't specifically say that you have to cast a attack cantrip. It just says cantrip. So you could go ahead and cast for instance mold earth on right below a person, excavate the stuff right below them to have them fall into a 5-foot hole, maybe prone, who knows, and then attack them up above if you wanted to. You can also use this, and I've used this many times, to cast for instance Shocking Grasp to shock them and then attack them and then move away because they lost their reaction. You can use this to cast Green Flame Blade or...
Those are bonus actions.
Are they? No, they're actions.
No, I think it's a bonus action that is a part of the attack.
No, I think it's an action that you use to attack. Because you brandish it as part of the casting to then attack.
I need to know.
I'm pretty sure, because if so, I've been doing it wrong for a very long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So...
It's part of the action to attack. So technically, yeah. It's not like Smite, where it's like because it's not a concentration spell. It's literally like you fire off this fire, and it's like, yeah, you attack that person. So it is technically part of the thing to make the attack right away. So you can do that as part of the attack action, which is awesome. Because you just get a little bit extra damage, as well as maybe some splash damage on any adjacent individuals. But for their 10th level feature, Song of Defense, this allows you as a reaction to literally just take less damage depending on the level of spell slot that you use. It's literally, as a reaction, when your Blade Song is active, you can use your reaction to expend one spell slot and reduce the damage to you by an amount equal to 5 times the spell slot's level. So literally, you take like 20 points of damage, you have a 4th level slot. No, you don't. You just don't take that damage. Incredible. Song of Victory is the last feature from your Bladesinger, and you literally just add your intelligence modifier to every melee attack with a weapon that you have. You just get extra damage on top. Just flat. You don't have to roll it. You just get, again, if your intelligence is at a 20, you just get plus 5 extra damage for every melee weapon attack.
Which is pretty huge.
That's pretty awesome. Like, again, all of that in essence, that not only gives your already diverse wizard even more options, like you're not as reliant on magic, even though you're one of the best spellcasters ever, but you also get so much more defense and survivability in every way, shape, or form. So, I mean, if that in essence doesn't, totally turn you on to the Bladesinger, I'm not entirely sure what will. But hey, do you, boo? Like...
Play a Hexblade.
Go ahead and die, yeah. Just take, die from 1d4 wind damage from a passing breeze if you would like.
Those are my favorite characters.
I bet they are. Because you don't like to get attached to them, because if you do, like your druid who died, you feel horrible about it.
I have multiple tattoos and all of these characters are now dead or no longer a part of the... Literally, it's not... I don't want to talk about it. It hurts me, the very fabric of my being.
Yeah, I know, bud. And I get it. I do.
What's your least favorite?
My least favorite of all the wizards would agreed probably be illusion, I would say. Like, illusion or conjuration, like, they're just
not good.
They're just not that good. Like,
I mean, even you could argue abjuration because the ward is bad.
Well, I mean, the ward can actually be used, again, it's a little bit more survivability, which is nice, especially if you hit hard into that thing, like if you cast, again, an abjuration spells, like, for instance, shield. You cast shield a lot, you literally increase your shield, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, so you could at least do something with that, right? You can at least do something with that. But with conjuration and illusion, it's like illusion, even like their biggest thing, like illusory reality. Like you can literally turn like an illusion spell into like an actual real thing. Mm-hmm. But it has to be a bonus action while the spell is ongoing, and it remains real for only 1 minute.
Well, it's very...
and it can't deal damage or otherwise directly harm anyone.
It's also very dependent on the fact that illusion spells in this game are unfortunately not that good.
They're not. Most of them are pretty bad because there's so many ways to see through them, which is just like, and it is kind of annoying, and it's like... I mean, that's just the one thing about illusion, it's like you save, but then you can still technically see through it at some point because you can keep basically remaking the save to see through it. And so it's like, it's really subpar and underwhelming in a lot of ways.
I think the problem is that it hitched itself to illusion spells, but I don't know what else you would have done with the class, so I can't really...
I mean, I don't know, like, just make... I would say almost like make illusions maybe harder for for people to actually like see through, or like increasing maybe a spell save, you know, for specifically illusion spells maybe, or giving you, you know, more free illusion spell, or maybe even giving the ability to like do more things with the illusions, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, you know, malleable illusion, when you cast illusion as observation warmer, you can use your action to change the nature of that illusion, using the spell's normal parameters for illusion, provided that you can see the illusion. So they kind of did that, I think, with the 6th level feature, where it's like you can change the nature of that illusion, which that's
but you still have to use the normal parameters.
Yeah, which is like, again, it's like that's a little bit closer, but it's like, you know, if you cast like minor illusion, right? Like minor illusion is like, it's just visual, there's no sound, there's no whatever. It's like, okay, maybe as an illusion wizard, you can provide sound or like more movement, like it can actually like move and the like, you know, something to give it more realism, to make it harder for people to tell.
Yeah. I mean, the illusory self is bad. You literally just, it's one attack. You avoid one attack every short rest.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's great if you never get hit, but also you're most likely going to get hit.
Like, but here's the thing, like, you also can just use what is this mirror image,
or just greater invisibility.
Yeah,
like because most things can't target you if they can't see you anyway.
That's true. Well, at least most spells can't. Obviously, you can still attack like at disadvantage.
Oh yeah.
As long as you're not hit, as long as the invisible creature isn't hidden, you can still technically attempt to attack them at disadvantage. But many spells and the like cannot hit you unless they can see you. Although you can also run away. People can't do attack of opportunity if they cannot see you, which is cool. But it is just like, yeah, it's like, why don't you just give them like the ability to cast mirror image for free? Like, because they can technically do that at 18th level at that point. They can just, because mirror image is a 2nd level spell, so why don't you just give it to them early? Just be like, hey, you can just cast mirror image for free as much as you want.
All the time.
That would have at least been something better. But yeah, so in essence, that's kind of the whole thing of Wizard there. Again, my personal favorite class. They have so much diversity, so much ability, especially with a lot of the different subclasses. And I will say, like, if you like divination, I would say you probably would like Chronergy wizards, because I feel like literally our divination wizards, like Big Brother, who they are even more so just the utter F you, no you don't. Like, I'm gonna shiz on all of your stuff right now. Like, let's see. Chronergy Wizards, like, again, a Critical Role, Matt Mercer original. They literally get almost all the same thing that Divination Wizards do, but almost even better. Temporal Awareness at the 2nd level, you can add your Intelligence modifier to your Initiative roll, so you just get better at doing stuff. Momentary Stasis. As an action, you can magically force a large or smaller creature you can see within 60 feet of you to make a spell save. And if they fail, they are encased in a field of magical energy until the next turn, or until the creature takes any damage. So they are literally incapacitated and have 0 movement, so they're just frozen. Though they're not technically, like, paralyzed, which is important to, take into consideration. Though I can't see how they wouldn't be, but either way.
But they're not.
Arcane Abeyance. This thing is busted. When you cast a spell using a spell slot of 4th level or lower, you can condense the spell's magic into a mote. The spell is frozen in time at the point of casting and held within a gray bead for 1 hour. This bead is a tiny object with AC 15 and a hit point of 1. It is immune to poison and psychic, yada yada. Essentially, this allows not just you, but anyone you give the bead to cast whatever 4th level spell is in there as if you cast it. So you could literally have, like, and this is 4th level or lower. So you could have a Dispel Magic. You could have a Fireball in there. You could have, a Dimension Door or whatever else just stocked and ready to go for people. And just blow them the hell up. And then finally, Convergent Future. This is, like, essentially where it's even better than the divination like reroll, because this is literally that, only if they fail, hang on, when your creature makes a attack roll, you can just literally make them fail or succeed, anything you want. There's not even a save.
Yeah, but you get exhausted.
Sure, but you can also just long rest and it's gone.
Sure, but if you play a halfling with the lucky feat and the halfling luck feat, and you play School of Divination, you just have, like, all the dice.
I mean, like I said, but
you can't roll once.
No,
you
can't.
extras.
That's for sure. You certainly can. But I mean,
no one will let me play
like,
it though because it's annoying.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. But yeah, this guy is like they're just like
I have to look at that
because they also get special spells too.
I know. Well, yeah.
I think
so does Graviturgy.
Yeah, Graviturgy also gets.
But
special spells.
I mean, a buddy of mine's playing through Graviturgy right now, and it's been entertaining.
It is. They're cool for certain, like no doubt. But they are also a very FU kind of class. But in essence, that should be all of the wizard. Moving on to our next lovely class on the list.
It's Warlock.
It's Warlocks.
I'm going to be handling this one.
Yeah,
I love Warlocks.
You are quite a fan of Warlocks. Go ahead and give them that flavor text.
Yeah, Warlocks are seekers of the knowledge that lies hidden in the fabric of the multiverse. Through pacts made with mysterious beings of supernatural power, Warlocks unlock magical effects, both subtle and spectacular, drawing on the ancient knowledge of beings such as fey nobles, demons, devils, hags, and alien entities of the far realm. Warlocks piece together arcane secrets to bolster their own power. The fun part about Warlock, which is my favorite part, is that you're not magical. Whatever you made a pact with is, and you have no control over it.
I mean, you have a little bit, like, well, as you level up, as you get higher up, you do become kind of more suffused with that magic, but he is correct. At the start, you are essentially just a mundane, and this person grants you, like, you are essentially a sugar baby. Yeah. And this is your sugar daddy or mommy.
The cool part is that you, unlike every other spellcaster, you are not... It's not something in you. It has nothing to do with you. You got lucky, or you did a lot of work.
Yeah,
or did something very horrible.
You did a lot of horrendous work, or got lucky that you made a pact with this person here or this creature here.
Usually not cool.
Usually not great.
Yeah, not the coolest group
Most of them are usually got some more, malicious.
Except for Celestial.
Yeah, except for Celestial. Well, even Celestials can be kind of haughty and maybe not always,
Well, yeah, but they don't want you to, murder a whole ton of children.
No.
Yeah, so the essence of it is you essentially, you don't really learn magic. You basically just have it because they're bestowing that power to you.
Yeah.
It's pact magic, so it's...
They essentially, unleash ancient, secret knowledge.
in your brain.
Yeah. So you do learn it, but yeah, they literally just give it to you.
Let's put it this way. You would not be able to teach it to anyone else.
Yeah. You're even more at the behest of this than a cleric would be for their god, for instance.
And kind of looking at what they have access to, they're a little bit beefier than a wizard.
Oh, yeah.
They get a D8 instead of a D6. And you are proficient with light armor, simple weapons. Yep. Your saving throws are wisdom and charisma. And you get to choose 2 skills from Arcana, Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion.
It's a stacked skill list.
Essentially, they're charisma casters, like a sorcerer.
Or bard.
Yeah, kind of with the idea of, that's willpower. Because it's basically using secrets that this weird thing gave you.
Yeah.
And you don't really know how they work, but you do understand them at the same time. It's a very, fun way to look at weird, ancient arcane magic.
See, I always felt in my opinion, I always felt like Warlock should be more intelligent, because they do still do the whole research book kind of thing.
They can. Or they can go the complete opposite way. My current Warlock is high intelligence. My intelligence is higher than my charisma. For a specific reason of my background is different than what my spells were about.
Yeah.
The thing with Warlock is you can go a couple different ways. They have a lot of options.
Have so much multi-class potential.
They also have just a lot of options within their own class to make 2 Warlocks, put them next to each other, and they're going to be completely different.
Oh, well, yeah, literally. Just even from what they choose at the start for their patrons. So it's incredible. I love the diversity.
Speaking of, at level 1, which is another class that starts right away, you get a patron.
You do. And pack magic.
Yeah, which also bestows pack magic based on the patron you pick. You do they don't get ritual casting, do they?
They do not naturally, no, because they get the tome they can, but they also have their Eldritch Invocations, which kind of gives them ritual casting. Yeah, in a sense.
Speaking of
a lot of things, but that happens.
At 2nd level, you do get Eldritch Invocations.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of these, and they're kind of spec'd into how you want to play your Warlock. You have things like Agonizing Blast, which is a pretty important one if you're ever going to use Eldritch Blast.
Which you will, because you're a Warlock.
I didn't have it when I first made my Warlock, and I was absolutely useless.
I mean, again,
there was a reason for it.
Yeah,
but, you get stuff like that. You can get,
Armor of Shadows, which is great.
Mage armor at will.
Yeah, you literally can do mage armor at will, which probably at the beginning will be better than most armor that you'll get. Plus, because it's still it's 13 plus your deck, so it's already better than like studded leather normally.
Yeah. And then you get later on, you get things like Devil Sight. You can see
Devil Sight is
magic
awesome.
and non-magical darkness to
always recommend. Eldritch Sight is also great. Detect magic at will.
Yeah,
never go wrong.
You get there's a lot of different options.
Yeah, but also depending on which patron that you chose, you also get additional Eldritch Invocations, specifically based off on that. Yeah, your pacts. Yeah.
So you have 3 options at level 3 for your Pact Boon, which this is kind of the Warlock's version of a subclass in a way.
A little bit, because Warlocks get their subclass at level 1 because, as Sam said, they literally need their patron to do any of this to start. They are just normal basic bees until they get that.
Yeah. So your choices for Pact are Pact of the Blade. So if you want to make a melee Warlock, you can use your action to create a Pact weapon in your empty hand. You can choose the form of this melee weapon.
That's one of my favorites.
Now, you're proficient while you wield it, because you're not proficient with every weapon as a Warlock, but you could choose, a longsword, and now you're proficient with it.
Yeah.
What is interesting is that it counts as magical right away, and it can, basically, if it goes farther than 5 feet away from you, it disappears.
Yeah.
And you can dismiss the weapon into a pocket plane at any time. So you're basically always armed, which is fun. And you can also take already magical weapons and do a ritual with them to make it your pact weapon.
Yeah.
The interesting thing with that is there are some improvements to it later on. You do not naturally get more than 1 attack.
Not normally.
Unless you take Thirsting Blade as a Eldritch
Invocation.
Invocation.
That one so much.
You can also get improved pack weapon, which means you can make your pact weapon into a bow.
Yeah.
And then you can take Eldritch Smite, and you can smite people with a bow.
Yeah.
I do want to do that at one point. A Hexblade Warlock with a bow.
I mean, the only problem with Eldritch Smite is that you just have so few spell slots for it. Like,
I'm not trying to be effective. I'm trying to smite people with a bow. I have one.
You want that one momentary high, and then you're done. Like, good lord. Have some more long.
I'm gonna play them in a one shot, so I never have to use.
There you go. That's fine. You can play them in a one shot. You don't have to do a short rest to get your slots back.
I don't care.
And it also depends on what level you would be.
It's a level 16 one shot.
Okay, alright, there. That's better.
I'm never gonna get to play this character.
No, you're never gonna get to play that character.
Widely renowned as the worst Pact of the Chain.
I still
you get a buddy.
I like that though. I like Pact of the Chain
because
there are some cool invocations. Like one invocation is I think the Gift of the Undying, where like if your familiar's on 100 feet, you just get full healing from anything. You can just heal for full. That's great.
Yeah, all 18 of your hit points.
Yeah.
I don't like Pact of the Chain. You get a Find Familiar and you can cast it as a ritual. You choose the form, but there's special forms specifically for Warlock, which is Imp, Pseudo Dragon, Quasit, or Sprite.
Let's be honest. Nobody actually keeps to that. Like you.
I do.
Like any game I have.
Quasit because it's a funny name.
No, I was thinking. Well, yeah, no, everybody loves Quasit. Although it's honestly probably the worst one on the list.
Don't care.
Of course.
Look at how it's spelled.
Either way, I was going to say nobody necessarily keeps to this being like, hey, you have to be a Warlock to have these familiars. Like every game I've played, it's basically been like, yo, you can, even as a wizard, you can have any of these if you want. Like
in my game, you get an owl. Or you get an owl
yeah, most people love owls too.
No,
because of flyby.
We don't have these options for normal wizards.
Every game I've played in, we've always had the option.
Look, Warlock doesn't have a lot. If you're gonna start giving away their stuff to other people, like you can't. Look, I love Warlock, but let's not pretend like it's a good class.
It is. They're plenty good.
The only way this class is good is when you bullshit it and you take sorcerer levels.
No, you don't have to.
So you can machine gun people.
No, you don't have to. Like again, Hexblade works great, and so does Genie. Genie's a great one.
We're gonna talk about it. Then.
Yeah.
Next up,
let's talk about it.
The probably the most used pact overall, which is Pact of the Tome. You get a cool book, it's all mysterious and shit, and then you get to choose 3 cantrips from any spell list, which is cool. Because that means you can take things like guidance, or If you want
Toll the Dead.
other weird spells that you're never going to use, because once you get Eldritch Blast, you'll never look back. You can cast them at will when the book is on your person. They don't count against your cantrips known. If you lose it, you can perform a 1-hour ceremony to receive a replacement from your patron, although it might make them angry. You get ability score improvements at pretty standard.
Give me more stuff.
Yeah, 4, 8, 12, 16, 8, and 19.
I lost my book.
Which is a little off from some classes. Let's see. After that, you get
Mystic Arcane.
Well, we should probably talk about how their spell slots work. Warlocks are really fun because they're the only people that have pact magic, which means all of their spells are cast at max level of the spell slots that you have.
Well, because you only have you never have any different level spell slots.
You just have one level.
You always have one, and those levels go up. But essentially, I believe at level 1,
you have one spell slot.
You have one spell slot, and it's first level.
Yeah.
And you know 2 spells. You know 2 spells and 2 cantrips.
A whole 2 spells.
Yeah, 2 spells and 2 cantrips.
Yeah.
And you have one spell slot at one level.
And that's it.
And at 3rd level, your spell slots go up to 2nd.
Yeah.
Yay!
And now you know 4
and now you know
spells.
4 spells.
And you have 2
and you have 2 slots. So essentially, we'll just skip ahead into the max level. You will know a total of 15 spells.
4 cantrips.
And you will have 4 spell slots. I told you it was 4.
But they're all 5th level.
But they're all 5th level. They're 5th level spell slots.
8 invocations.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Again, to be fair, the fact that the Warlock has less overall spell slots, they do try to kind of supplement that with the addition of invocation.
Yeah,
and as me and Sam just said, those can be a multitude of things, mostly spells that you can use anytime you want. Although, to be fair, it is also true, there are spells where you still have to use your slot.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
Why?
If you play Warlock like me, you will never take a single invocation that gives you a spell to cast. Because why would you do that when you can do cool things like never sleep again or see in the dark?
No! See in the dark is good because it's also magic. It's magical darkness.
Hit people and push them away with your Eldritch Blast.
You don't need to do that! Dude, take... That's what I'm saying!
You take Eldritch Spear so you can shoot them 300 feet away.
That's
and you
helpful.
take Spell Sniper so that your Eldritch Spear range is 600 feet.
Yes.
And you can shoot someone from 6 football fields away.
Yes, that is great!
3 football fields
That is
away.
good. Spell Sniper to the utmost max, for sure. However, you can also take... If you have 8 invocations, my man, freaking get Devil Sight, get Eldritch Sight.
Yeah.
Get the Master of Myriad
you get
Forms.
Eyes of the Runekeeper.
Yes, if you want.
You get Beast Speech.
Yes, Beast Speech is great. I love Beast Speech.
I'm gonna make a Warlock with all the worst invocations. So it's gonna be Pact of the Chain.
Yep.
It's gonna have...
Stop! It's good. It's nice.
Okay.
It has helpful stuff.
So isn't there technically a 4th Pact now?
I think so. It's like
We
Pact of
missed-
the Talisman.
I see it. Pact of the Talisman.
Yeah, Pact of the
Your
Talisman.
patron. This one's also bad.
It's not
Your patron gives you
horrible.
an amulet, a talisman that can aid the wearer when the need is great. When the wearer fails an ability check, they can add a D4 to the roll, potentially turning the roll into a success. If you rolled 1 under what you were trying to meet, the benefit can be used another times equal to your proficiency bonus, and all expended uses are restored when you finish a long rest. Why? I don't know. It's bad.
It's
base level features are worse than every other one.
Yeah.
But going back to spells, you have at 11th level, 13th level, and 15th level, you get some
Mystic Arcanum,
which is essentially your way of getting
higher level
6th, 7th, 8th,
and 9th,
and eventually at 17th, 9th level spells. Which is really cool. You only get 1 of each per day.
It's fine because until you reach like level 20, every other spellcaster class only gets 1 too.
Even wizards at level 20 only have 1.
Well, they have 2 6th-level slots at level 20.
But like most classes don't get more than 1 anyway.
Most classes don't get more than 1, 8th, or 7th, 8th, and 9th.
The real problem is you do only get to pick 1 spell. So you have to make it count.
It is true. Again, just pick Wish, and then you can use any 8th or below level spell you want.
Or don't take Wish and take True Polymorph. Eldritch Master is your capstone ability, and it is widely renowned as one of the worst capstone abilities in the game.
It's so
At 20th level,
bad.
you can draw your inner reserve of mystical power while entreating your patient to regain expended spell slots. You can spend 1 minute to regain all of your expended spell slots from your Pact Magic feature. Now,
to be fair, that's not the worst.
No.
For a Warlock, that's actually decent. Because you get all of them. You get all of them.
All 4 of them.
Yeah, but still.
Can I just put it out there that 20th level wizard can do this with Arcane Recovery?
Yes.
Same amount of spell slots with the same level of spells.
Well,
yeah. It's 20 against 4.
So no, he can get back 10 levels worth of spell slots.
I thought it was more.
No. 20th level, because it's half your level.
Oh, okay. So you can do half of that.
Yeah, he can do half of it. So like a 20th level wizard can get back 2 5th level spell slots, or the equivalent.
It's rough because the cool thing about Pact Magic is Warlocks get it back on a short
rest. Yes.
Now, I guess you could cast all 4 of your spells, take a short rest, cast all 4 of your spells again, and then do this, and then cast all 4 of your spells again. Or just get a ring of spell storing.
Well, and that.
Yeah.
Did you do that
Just
and
more
that?
of
Not
this.
and. Yeah,
Get
just
2
and
of
that.
them.
Yeah.
Just get 2
Get 2 rings of spell storing. Just pump all of your spells. Well, actually, no. I take it back. The ring of spell storing only takes up to 5 level 5 slots. So if you're at just 1, it would just be 1 extra spell. It would be 1 extra. Unless you have a friend. If you had a friend who just pumped level 1 spells into it, like just fill it all up with shield. Just fill it all up with shield, or silvery barbs. Just shield and silvery barbs.
All of it is filled with magic missile.
Yeah, just magic missile. That's it.
Okay, so the way I look at it, Warlock is a kind of an off-caster. It's fun. I love the class. The flavor is awesome.
The flavor is probably the best.
If you haven't, there's a connotation to that. You need a DM who legitimately runs your patron well.
Yes. Well, that's always the case for almost anything. Like I said, even with wizards, to get more spells, you need a DM.
But this one is like, if you want your character to have any flavor whatsoever, you need a DM who's willing to actually work with, being a patron to you. Because if you never get asked for anything, and you never struggle with what you have to do, and you never have weird shit happen to you because you have an otherworldly being weirdly giving you random power, there's no give and take. There's no exchange there.
No, there is no exchange for sure. You're literally kind of just getting this stuff. You are essentially just like
you're
another
just a shitty sorcerer.
You're a sorcerer. Yeah,
you're a shitty sorcerer.
I wouldn't say that. Sorcerers are shitty enough on their own. Okay. They're pretty bad.
They're the fuckboys of magic.
Not even, man. No, paladins are the fuckboys of magic. Okay.
Are you sorcerers are? Because they just have it.
They just have it. But they're not good at it though either.
I like sorcerers.
I don't. I hate sorcerers. Sorcerers are probably my least favorite class, I would say.
Well,
but
speaking of,
we still have to talk about the subclasses for Warlock.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite flavor-wise is Old One. Great Old One.
No, again,
that's your Cthulhu's and your weird tentacle beings.
It's the ancient dark magic from the far realm.
Eldritch horrors. It's everything.
All your Eldritch horrors.
Although a new one that's high up on this list for me is Genie.
Yeah, I love the Genie. Honestly, it's a tie between, of course, Hexblade and
I haven't played
the Genie. You haven't played a Hexblade? You. What's wrong with you?
I don't have that many options.
Again, to be fair for me, like I said, I already said it before, I like classes, specifically subclasses that allow a mixture of cool magic and martial. So obviously Hexblade, and of course Hexblade is also a lot of the time widely considered to be probably the best of the Warlock class.
Pure damage numbers, in terms of your melee to magic efficiency, it is one of the better ones. I'd say Genie.
Especially with Hexblade's Curse and the packed boons or stuff or the Eldritch invocations you can get, Relentless Hex is also another great one. If you use Hexblade in conjunction with Pact of the Blade, because again, cool thing about Hexblade, you can utilize your charisma for your melee attacks. You no longer have to use strength or dex, so you just increase your charisma. It applies to your thing. You also get, I think, a special invocation that allows you to apply your charisma twice to your damage output.
That one.
Yeah, so you deal hella damage with it, which is great, and I also do like the flavor of it being because again with Hexblade, I always feel like your patron can almost be anything.
Yeah.
But that's imbued like a weapon or a thing.
There's also different like ways of looking at it as well, because there's the way of like, oh, my patron created this weapon, or my patron is in the weapon.
The weapon.
Yeah.
Or even is, because you can have sentient weapons, and it's like, or even just items that like imbue you with like, yeah, you can now do this ability to make weaponry, you know, your whatever. Like,
yeah,
I like the diversity of that, because it's much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Abstract. Like, it's not like a specific kind of creature or being. But another one, because we both do like the genie. To be fair, that is definitely, there's a newer one, and is definitely one of the up and coming. A lot of people have loved it because it is just inherently,
it's a good caster,
better than a lot of the other. Not even just cast, but even the cool little perks you get from it. Like, you could literally have a genie lamp or a ring that you can just go inside of for a while. You can just chill out in there in a pocket dimension at level 1.
I have both a Great Old One Warlock, or not a Great Old One anymore. It's now a Celestial, but I have 2 Warlocks I'm currently running with.
Okay.
In 2 different campaigns, and my Genie Warlock that I ran as like a backup character has now been like, you know that in anime where they just take a character and sideline them?
Yep.
And you just never see them again, or they're always there but they're never doing anything?
Yeah, no.
That's my Genie Warlock, because one of the characters has his lamp, and my DM altered the rules for it so that my character just hangs out.
He's just in there now forever.
With a dragon. There's a dragon in there as well.
That's dope!
Yeah, so it's a great, like, flavor-wise,
it is
immaculate.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You're talking about, like,
it's a genie! And, like, who wouldn't love a genie patron?
Because genies are assholes.
Some of them
D&D.
Most of them.
All of the ones you can pick from here.
No. Most of them. No. Like the Jinn, the air version is actually cool. They're the only cool
Why
Jinn.
you pick that one when you can pick an Ifrit, which are evil?
Yeah, all of them are evil except for the Jinn. Like, and again, Jinns are cool because you get cool perks.
Yeah, just pick the Ifrit.
Yeah,
it's the best one.
Ifrit is the best one for sure,
and
I would absolutely
look kind of like a genie. Like, it actually matches with your character's
physical description. Yeah, it does.
I love
morphs them, and that's dope. And again, yeah, like having the Ifrit, and also I guess the what are the
Dao,
the Dao of the Earth. Yeah, the Dao genie is also pretty cool too.
But it has the worst damage type.
It does. Because you have resistance though to it too, so that's helpful. Like
fire though.
Yeah, I know, but bludgeoning, plenty of things bludgeon. Maybe not as much as fire, to be fair. But, you know,
not at that point.
Not at that point.
I will say the coolest thing for me is essentially I like to play a genie warlock as like not a charlatan, but like a snake oil salesman that actually sometimes sells something that works.
Yeah,
because get, your capstone is the limited wish.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I love this capstone here. You entreat your patron to grant you a small wish. It's a genie. How could you not have something?
Yeah, you need some wishing.
As an action, you can speak your desire to your genie's vessel, requesting the effect of one spell that is 6th level or lower and has a casting time of 1 action. The spell can be from any class of spell list, and you don't need to meet the requirements in that spell, including cost of components. The spell simply takes effect as part of this action. So, you can essentially cast any spell
6th level spell
of 6th level or lower. That's pretty cool. You can disintegrate somebody. You could dimension door multiple times if you wanted to. You could freaking, because especially at this level, you also have 5th level slots, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, but it's still, it's, for me, it's just flavor-wise.
No, it is cool. Like, I mean, again, flavor-wise, I feel like this
I'm pretty
is
sure
amazing.
you can revive people. Because it doesn't need any components.
No, you could.
So you could save people's lives.
You could. You could reincarnate a person.
Yeah, you could basically be like a weird.
You could reincarnate. Healer. I think reincarnate fits perfectly because it is like I will revive you. Oh well, you're not who you were before.
You're a grumman.
Yeah. I brought you back at the very base minimum sense of the word.
Yeah,
you're not
now
yourself,
you're a frog.
But yeah, now you're Frogman.
Yeah.
Or now you're Elephant. You're Loxodon. Well done.
Oh, man, that'd be so funny.
Right.
I like the connotation. It doesn't have like the craziest. Abilities, but a lot of it's,
I mean, it does in an RP.
Yeah.
In an RP sense. It probably has the craziest, like, of features in an RP sense.
Mm-hmm.
On, like, you get to hang out in a freaking sanctuary. You can literally host parties. Like, you could be like Genie from Aladdin a little bit, which is awesome.
And you get, that's fun enough for me.
Yeah.
Plus you can fly for a little bit.
I will say... Probably my least favorite.
It's the Fiend.
No,
they're the worst.
I think the Undying.
Really?
would be the worst for me, dude.
Yeah, let me go look at this guy over here.
The Undying... Fiend was previously pretty bad, but no, dude, the Undying... Oh my god. It is so bad. It's so bad. So, for your extended spell list, you get, at first level, False Life, Ray of Sickness, okay. Second level, Blindness, Deafness, and Silence.
They're both good spells. Not for Warlocks.
No. Third level, Feign Death, Speak with Dead. Fourth level, Aura of Life, which is okay. Death Ward, which is decent. Fifth level, Contagion and Legend Lore. At fifth, you get free 5th level spells and are Contagion and Legend Lore?
So...
Okay, let's go into the features real quick. Among the Dead, starting first level, you're on the Spare the Dying cantrip, which counts as a Warlock. You also have advantage on saving throws against any disease.
Cool.
There's almost no f***ing disease in any f***ing game.
Go play Two of Annihilation.
Like, oh god, nobody's gonna...
Casual.
Jesus.
Go play that. It's all disease.
I'm saying an actual, like, long-term campaign.
Sure, yeah.
That's a fucking meat grinder, Sam. That's a dungeon crawl meat grinder
Christmas
where you...
Drop?
There's more disease there, kind of, but it still isn't like...
No, they just kill you in that one.
Yeah, like, again, same thing. Like, it's not even like a disease that really, like, whatever. But either way, additionally, undead have difficulty harming you.
That's pretty cool.
If an undead targets you directly with an attack or harmful spell, that creature must make a wisdom saving throw. Basically, it's like a sanctuary spell against undead.
Yeah.
But, the problem being... an undead is immune to this effect for 24 hours if you target it with an attack or a harmful spell, Sam. So the moment you actually fight back, it doesn't matter anymore.
That's why you only roll ones on initiative. So
for the first round, I might be okay.
Yeah.
Might. Maybe not even. And then for the rest of the time, it doesn't matter.
No, that means
horrible!
It's really bad.
Defy Death. Starting at 6th level, you can give yourself Vitality when you cheat Death, or when you help someone else cheat it. You can regain hit points, equal to 1d8 plus Constitution, when you succeed on a Death saving throw, or when you stabilize a creature with Spare the Dying. So this is okay.
We can only use it once.
But not even, because you only use it once, a long rest.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Not even a short rest, but long rest.
But hear me out, I like the
and
level ability.
Most likely it won't even really matter, because you'll just go down again.
I like number 10.
It's like, and hang on. When you succeed or stabilize. So how far is... Spare the Dying is a touch spell, so it's not even as good as, like, Healing Word, for that matter. Spare the Dying is a touch spell. You have to touch them.
Nice.
So it's not even as good as Healing Word.
You're not a Grave Cleric, so you can't do it from 30 feet.
No, you can't. Undying Nature. You hold your breath indefinitely. You don't require food, water, or sleep, although you still require rest to reduce exhaustion, still benefit from short and long rest. In addition, you age at accelerate for every 10 years. Your body ages only 1 year, and you're immune to being magically aged. Sure, that's a nice flavor kind of thing. Sure.
Are you kidding me? I don't have to breathe.
Yeah, no, that's nice if you're like in if you're going to the water plane, or maybe in space, or whatever else.
You're just playing an astral campaign as an undying.
Yeah,
like just sitting there.
You're just floating in the sea.
That'd be a great side character.
Space, like you're just like, hey, what's up?
How old are you? Oh, 400.
Yeah,
well, you're a mate. You're just an early human. Oh,
well. I'm only 40. Yeah, I'm 40. 40. I'm 400, but I've only aged 40 years. Whatever.
Yeah, so I got another.
And then last, and certainly, honestly, kind of least, when you reach 14th level, you partake of some of the true secrets of the Undying. Woohoo! On your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus your Warlock level, which would be 14 at this point. Additionally, if you put a severed body part of yours back in place when you use this feature, the part reattaches, as if you lose body parts very often in the campaign.
Well, if you're like me and you've been wanting to play a campaign with the critical injury table...
this would be a perfect thing for you.
No, I just play Undeath Monk.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. You would play almost any other... Like literally, what was it? Was it? I'm trying to think. Barbarian, Path of the Zealot is a better Undying subclass than
you just
this.
can't die.
Exactly, you can't die. This says Undying. It literally is in the name. The Undying.
I love this.
This is shit. Oh my god.
I love this. My favorite is you just go into the one right above it. which is
so
the
bad.
undead warlock, which is
so
like arguably
bad.
way better.
It is! It's not even good, but it is. Literally, first level, you get Bane! Yeah, you get false life too, but you get Bane!
I'm just talking about the featies.
I know, but I'm also saying spells. The extended spells, like at first level. You get Death Ward, you get Greater Invisibility, you get Phantom Steed, you get Anti-Life Shell and Cloud Kill.
I have to be honest, I don't think I've cast like almost any of those spells.
Dude, they're all great. Death Ward is fantastic, man. Great Invisibility. Phantom Steed is amazing. People sleep on Phantom Steed, man. Like, if you're, like, needing to, like, move anywhere quickly, like, admittedly, like, if you have, like, if you have a party of 4 and you have 2 people who can cast Phantom Steed, you can get anywhere. Like, quick.
Yeah. So, if we're going to talk about my least favorite, it's going to be
the Fiend.
It's going to be Fiend.
Go right ahead.
So, it's not the worst.
No. We already just went through the worst.
No, we went through the worst.
We went through the worst.
But it's just nothing it offers aside from Fireball is really, like, and, like, thinking of how many spells you really have and what you're really going to be doing with them.
Scorching Ray is good.
Scorching Ray is fine, up to a point.
Well,
and you're just better off using your cantrip.
Well, no, but again, as a Warlock, it only gets better as you level up.
Yeah, but there's like
you also have a chance to crit with that too.
Yeah, but there's a capstone where it's like
true.
Eventually your normal Eldritch Blast is just as effective.
Yeah, if not potentially effective, depending on certain invocations, maybe.
True.
But if
you spec into it.
Yeah, but it also, if something is like, vulnerable to fire damage, for instance, like Scorching Ray helps a lot.
Yeah, but then you get into like, your higher abilities. The Dark One's Own Luck is fine. Dark One's Blessing is fine. You get temp HP, or you get, okay. Better ability check, whatever. Fiendish Resistance is okay, because you basically gain a damage resistance.
Yeah, that's always great.
Except, at that point, you're going to fight things with magical items.
That's true. No,
they're just going to kill you.
It's just nothing. Yeah, no. The problem is that it's like damage from magical weapons.
Or silvered weapons, which...
Yeah, nobody uses silver.
They might not, but if you're playing with a DM who wants to kill you, it's very easy.
Sure, but I mean, that's also fair in terms of, like, if you become overpowered, but they're not going to be.
No, especially not as this, because your capstone ability at 14...
Hurl through hell.
...is just, hey, I'm going to transport you to the lower planes.
Yeah.
And you're going to take 10d10 psychic damage. And you can't use it except once per long rest.
Yeah.
Now, this is the 9 hells. Like, it should be...
Fire damage.
Fire or...
Cold.
Or a mixture of the two. I like psychic damage, because it's not oftenly resistant. But it only works if the target isn't a fiend.
Well,
so, like...
I mean, it's... Well, okay, so it doesn't technically say, like, hell. It just says through the lower planes. So essentially, that it could even be like they're hurled through what is the not pandemonium? It could be like and that would make sense for the psychic damage. Yeah. And it does say it disappears and hurtles through a nightmare landscape. So it's like it's just there and it sees terrible shit and then it comes back. So it's like
it feels like it should do more.
No, I agree. It's a 14th level, but
to be fair,
it's not the worst.
To be fair. If we're looking at like Great Old One, which I love, it has terrible.
Oh yeah,
terrible.
Yeah. Like, but it's cool though.
The only good, it has Awakened Mind, which is awesome.
Yeah, Awakened Mind is cool.
Entropic Ward, which is useful.
Yeah.
Thought Shield, which I also like if you want to be paranoid.
I mean, I think it's just cool because again, in a higher level campaign, it's like you get a resistance to psychic damage.
It's not.
No, it's not. Again, to be fair, a lot of classes capstone abilities, whether subclass or they're just not great. Like wizards really didn't like do the whole build up thing great
because most classes
they don't get to that level,
or they already have enough going on with items and other functions of their class that they're already.
I agree. Like I said, I'm not bashing on wizards at all. It's like again, I understand the process. Yeah, it's like, and quite frankly, I am also of a mind of like, you want the cool shit earlier on too. Like you're not. It's gonna take unless you're doing milestone and your DM is like super generous and be like, yeah, we're gonna level up.
It takes years.
Pretty quick. Like it'll still take a long ass time.
It took me 2 years to get to level 15.
To get to like thing. Yeah, no, it took us. We started at level 10 for one campaign, and it still took us like a year and a half to get to level 20. Like so, it was like we started at level 10. It still took us like a year and a half, and we did milestone. So it was like. It was still a lot. But
well, I think we figured out the worst one.
I think it's the Undying.
Yeah.
It's the Undying. There is no question. The Undying might be the worst subclass of any class in this frickin' game. Like
Purple Dragon Knight?
I mean, I still think there's some fun things with the Purple
Dragon.
I think Purple Dragon. Look, we could also make it say Beast Ranger, although they also switch up the Beast Ranger. But we'll get to it eventually.
I'm so excited to talk about.
We'll get to it in a second, but we will be moving on now. Okay.
So the best Magic class.
The worst.
Your favorite caster.
The worst Magic class.
They have the coolest subclasses.
They do. I give it like in terms of sorcerer, in terms of like subclasses and flavor, they have such cool ones. But that's what makes me so angry. Is it could be so awesome and cool, it's just not because of the base freaking mechanics. Sorcerers. Sorcerers carry a magical birthright conferred upon them by an exotic bloodline, some otherworldly influence, or exposure to unknown cosmic forces. Already super cool flavor.
Dead dragon.
One can't study sorcery as long as one learns. One can't study sorcery as one learns a language. Any more than one can learn to live a legendary life. Okay, I see. One can't study sorcery as one learns a language. Any more than one can learn to live a legendary life. No one chooses sorcery. The power chooses the sorcerer.
Which is so cool.
It is. This was the first class that I ever played in Dungeons and Dragons.
You know why I like sorcerer? Because it's a less complicated wizard for someone who wants to play a magic class but doesn't want to read books.
It is basically
that.
It is. I mean, again, that was literally why I chose it. Like, because again, I was like, oh, I want to be a spell. I want to do wizard. But I'm like, wizard is again, it's not the best starting class. I was like, oh, so sorcerers basically can do like how it was explained to me initially was like, and I didn't do a ton of personal like resource myself or like research myself. It was like. Wizards essentially they are more diverse in what they can do, but sorcerers are just better at doing the things that they can do.
Yeah.
Which actually isn't technically true, to be fair. They're just, it's not quite that simple. So, let's get into it. With a sorcerer, and here's how I will do my best to separate a wizard from a sorcerer. Wizards, as we already explained, they are probably the most diverse spellcaster class in the game, but they are also still good at what they do. They have so much that they can spare. Sorcerers, they are definitely a simpler version, for sure. They offer really cool flavor capacity, much more, because again, they are more charisma-based class. Yeah. But the limitedness of them is much more than you initially think.
They have the shortest spell list out of any book.
And not just the short. Well, Bard also does too. Bard
has changed that with the expanded spell.
They have, but
that was an original.
The issue being too, sorcerers also have, same as wizard. They're the only two classes that have a D6 hit die. But sorcerers also have not only the shortest spell list, but they unlike wizards, clerics, and druids, their spellcast list, like the amount of spells they can have, are not increased by their ability modifier.
Nope.
They get just a set number of spells that they can have at any level.
Like Bard. They have the same.
They do
number of spells and how many they get at each
The difference
level.
being though is bards are also supplemented that with their skill monkeys. They're next rogues and apart from rogues. Bards are the best skill class in the game. Sorcerers don't have that. They get, at level 1, you get your spellcasting and your sorcerer's origin. So you do get your subclass right away, like warlocks do, which is kind of nice and helpful, but
super cool.
Super
helpful.
Yeah.
Really great part of the class that you definitely want right away.
Yeah, sure. It can help. And again, what is appealing, especially at lower levels, if you're starting out level 1, sorcerers get the most cantrips of any class at level 1. They get 4 cantrips, which again, at first value, like at face value, it's like, that's awesome! Because it's also like people explain cantrips to you. They're spells you can cast as much as you want. However, at level 1, depending on what cantrips you have, they are very limited. Especially compared to as you go further down the line, while you still get more cantrips, and they can get more powerful, depending on what cantrips you choose, they still will fall off in terms of both damage as well as utility to higher level spells from other classes that just have more ability to cast those spells. So, first level.
Wait, so you're telling me it's not a good idea to just take only attack cantrips?
No, Sam.
That's what I do every time.
I know you do, because that's for sorcerers. That's the only thing that really, like...
So you can change up what elements you're using.
Yeah, now you can. You didn't. That's a new thing. You didn't used to be able to do that as a sorcerer.
No, I meant like instead of only casting Firebolt, you can also cast like Chill Touch or...
Oh, I was talking about you now have the sorcerer ability, the metamagic ability to change the element of whatever it is of an attack.
I don't know about that one.
I believe you can.
I don't think so. I'm gonna check now because you're saying such.
I think so. I believe like you can change for. I think it was introduced in Tasha's now. You couldn't do it originally.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you
what
couldn't.
The fuck?
Yeah, you couldn't.
That's the entire point of the Order of Scribes. So
yeah, I know, but no. Like again, that does at least make sorcerers slightly better, because again, back in the day, you didn't have that particular meta magic feature. So. At first level, you get 2 first level spells, as well as 2 first level spell slots, and 4 cantrips. And again, that sounds nice at the top, but again, you only have 2 spells, compared to the wizard's 6 first level spells that he can cast, as well as 3 cantrips starting out.
Sounds like you're just mad that sorcerers are cooler.
Mad that sorcerers suck more?
Awesome.
Again, take it into consideration, this is my first class I ever played, Sam. Like, I was absolutely down for it. Like, I love it. And honestly, ironically, it fits probably the way that I like to play even better than the wizard does because it's a charisma base. Like, I'm much more of like a person. I like to interact. I love to role play. But the problem, that's what makes me so angry, is that it could be so much better. And it's just a shittier version of the wizard in almost every way except for flavor.
Yeah, just be better and play Bard.
But Bard, like,
it's the best class.
I mean, it's best in some ways, not in all ways.
You can do everything.
You can do everything, but you're not great at everything, you know?
You can be pretty damn good.
You can be decent, yes, depending on certain things. But continuing on, second level, you get the feature Font of Magic.
There it is.
Which allows you to use sorcery points. But you only get a sorcery point per your level of sorcerer.
Yeah, exactly.
Unlike, and you only get these sorcery points back at a long rest. Unlike the monk, who gets their key points, which basically function the exact same way. He gets them back at a short rest. So you don't even get that. Plus, most of the sorcerer's metamagic features cost more sorcery points and do less things than the monk's key points do for what they can do. So you're using, a lot of the time, more sorcery points to do even like less effects, and usually more subtle effects, than the monk can do with their key points, and they don't even get their sorcery points back at a short rest, like the monk does.
Mm-hmm. But you can convert spell slots into sorcery points.
Yeah, you can.
But you only have
a very few, especially at lower level.
But we let.
Then they don't necessarily even. They're not like 1 for 1. Like you don't convert like a first level spell slot, or so you don't convert like a sorcery point into a first level spell slot. Like you have to spend like 2 sorcery points, and as you go up, it becomes even more. If you want like a 4th level spell slot, you have to convert like 6 sorcery points, something like that.
That's why you're better off converting spell slots into sorcery.
Exactly. But point being too is that you have such limited spell slots to begin with, and then you're trying to do cool like spell things like the rest of your spell casting party, but then you don't even get your spell slots back at a short rest like warlocks do. You don't even have an arcane recovery like wizards do, and even druids can have a natural recovery if they choose Circle of the Land.
Yeah. But that's the worst druid, so...
I mean, that's actually one of my favorite of the druid, as a matter of fact. But it is one of the worst, indeed, yeah.
Well, okay, but like, look at all these cool things they can do, Adam. They have things like Careful Spell.
Oh, do they? Yes, Careful Spell.
Which you can cast a spell that forces creatures to make a saving throw, like Fireball. But you can protect some of the creatures from the full force.
Yeah, Evocation Wizards can do that, too.
But they still take half damage.
Yeah, Evocation. They take no damage from Evocation Wizards. Evocation Wizards, you do that yourself and any of your friends. Don't take any damage from your AoE spell.
You can cast a distant spell, which you can You can spend 1 sorcery point to double the range.
Yeah, you can get Spell Sniper and do that all the time
And
at no cost.
You can do both of them, and then you can cast a touch spell to a range of 30 feet.
Oh, really?
That's
wow,
cool. I like that. You can get Empowered Spell.
Yeah, which does
when you roll damage,
max damage.
You can reroll a number of damage dice up to your Charisma modifier, and you must use the new rolls.
Yeah, you reroll it. It's not even max damage. You just reroll it, maybe, and you have to use the new roll.
And you can stack it on top of other meta magics.
I mean, yeah, you can do that, but you have to spend more sorcery points.
Yeah. Extended spell. So if you cast a spell with a duration of 1 minute or longer, you can spend 1 sorcery point to double its duration.
Yeah, most spells kind of just do that at higher level spells anyway.
Maximum duration of 24 hours.
Yeah, most spells do that. Most spells do it maybe even for like months at a time by themselves.
Yeah, or you can use Heightened Spell and spend 3 sorcery points.
3? Wow, this better be good. This is gonna be amazing.
Give a target of one of a spell
disadvantage
on the first
saving throw.
Just
the first one, and that was 3 sorcery points.
We're getting into what are probably most used aside from Empowered.
Yeah, Subtle Spell,
Quickened
Spell.
Because that's just you can take a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, and you can spend 2 sorcery points to change the casting time to 1 bonus action.
It's 2 sorcery points. And here's the funny part too. To be fair, as well, in my games, we just allow people to cast spells and bonus action spells all the time anyway. So that has no effect.
So you guys play the game wrong.
No, we play the game better, Sam.
Oh,
that's how we play.
You play more fun.
Yes, we play the game better.
So for someone like me who follows the rules and reads all the books, it allows you to do something like, firebolt someone and then also Scorching Ray them.
Yeah.
Which, arguably, at lower level, when this is most effective, you can nuke the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, at lower level. But that's, again, sorcerers are most effective at lower level.
Yes.
And as they progress,
they get worse.
They get bad.
And then we have
they get bad. Very
Subtle
bad.
Spell. You can cast a spell
Subtle
with 1
Spell
sorcery point
is actually cool.
without any somatic or verbal components.
So you can just, again, it's cool because this is literally an effect that Archdruids have.
You can cast them sneaky like.
Yeah. Archdruids can literally cast spells without having to do anything. They can just cast them. Now you have to spend a sorcery point, which is fine. It's just 1, so that's fair in my opinion. And you can just cast a spell and no one will even know. So you can get the drop on somebody. It'd be great. You could literally just fireball somebody without them knowing that you're about to do it. Because again, most of the time when you cast a spell, you have to do verbal, like when you speak, and then somatic, which is so they see it coming.
Yeah, it looks like you're casting.
It takes 6 seconds to go and then
Yeah, the other most used is Twin Spell.
Twin Spell is decent.
When you cast a spell that only targets 1 creature and doesn't have a range of self, you can spend a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level to target a 2nd creature in range with the same
spell.
spell.
It has to be equal to the freaking
So you can twin a cantrip and you can hit 2 people, or you can do what most sorcerers do, which is twin haste or twin fly.
Twin haste and twin fly is great. Well, fly can
you don't have to twin fly, but sometimes
twin fly can affect more people at higher levels, can't it?
Yeah, but scaling isn't great.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to do it with fly then because it can do that at higher levels. So it's specifically that it has to be a spell that can at no point target anyone else. Point? Yeah.
It doesn't say that on here, but that's fine.
Oh, I thought it was at. I thought I read somewhere that it is at.
No, it's at the current level.
Okay, then
so you can do
it at third level. Cool. All right, that's good.
And here's the best part: they get nothing else except spells from their base class until 20th level, where they get the best capstone ability.
Oh my god!
At 20th level, you regain 4 expended sorcery points whenever you finish a short rest.
Oh god!
I think what's more entertaining about what we're doing today is that I get to watch you squirm when I positively talk about classes that are bad.
Good lord.
I love Sorcerer because they have a really, really cool background and
as I said, they have some of the best RP flavor text like Warlocks. Yeah. But their mechanical aspects are they're dog water. Absolute dog water. And again, here's another caveat. Unlike most other spellcasters, both bards and sorcerers, they can't change out their spells.
No, they can.
No, they can't.
Every level you can.
Every level.
Yeah.
Every
bards
level.
Can't do it either.
I just said that. I said bards and sorcerers.
Oh, I thought you were saying. Oh.
No, I said unlike every other spellcaster class, bards and sorcerers cannot switch their spell list at a long rest.
Nope.
They can only exchange one.
Oh god, we forgot the optional features.
I mean, okay.
You get Seeking Spell.
Yeah, Seeking
When you make
spell.
an attack roll for a spell and miss, you can spend 2 sorcery points to re-roll the d20, and you must use the new
Get
roll.
advantage. Yeah, sure.
It also
but not
stats.
even advantage, actually.
Or you can do the transmuted spell where you change the damage type, which is really cool.
Well, no, we said that one. Yeah, I said that one. That one actually is decent. However, but again, you can do that with Chromatic Orb at level 1. And
you can also magical guidance. You can tap in your inner wellspring of magic to try and conjure success from failure. When you make an ability check that fails, you can spend 1 sorcery point to reroll the d20, and you must use the new roll. So the problem with this class is that its sorcery point economy is terrible.
garbage. That's what I'm saying.
Unless you are converting half of your spell slots into sorcery points. Depending on the subclass you choose, you run out of them very quickly.
Super quickly, but I mean, again, compared to other classes, as you get higher up, yeah, you get more spell slots, but you want to be using those higher level spells anyway at that point. Like, all the higher level spells are going to outpace all of your cantrips at a pretty low level, respectively. Like I would even say as high like level 5 is when shit starts to really fall off pretty quickly at that point. If you have, like, again, a druid or a wizard or a cleric in your party, like, you're just kind of like,
You just only do fireball.
Basically, and very little. You do a fireball once or twice.
I would say sorcerers benefit extremely from the higher level, like, rod or wand magic items that give you extra spells.
Or, again, they're great for Ring of Spell Storing. That is made for sorcerers. Ring of Spell Storage is the thing for sorcerers.
Like, if you have a sorcerer and you have a best friend who's an artificer, that's a great little pairing there. Because you guys work together and make up for your missed.
Well, that's the thing. Even artificers. The thing about artificers, though, is that unlike sorcerers, who again have no proficiency with armor, they have proficiency with daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs. Basically, same thing as wizards. No tool proficiency. They got Constitution, Charisma, and they choose from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation.
Constitution is a great.
Constitution is great for sure for like concentration spells, of which they would have to heavily rely upon because of their low spell economy.
Yeah.
But they have no melee or armor to speak of, which is why you also need to take mage armor for them, because they also don't have a subclass that gives them armor, I think. Unless it's what, the Divine Soul?
Draconic Bloodline.
But Draconic Bloodline gives them an increase to AC, but it doesn't give them proficiency with armor. Like, none of their sorcerers...
It basically replaces mage armor, because it's 13 plus your
True.
class.
And again, obviously, if your DM is benevolent and they give you like a free feat at level 1, just take like Eldritch Invocation and get mage armor for free.
Oh, that's an interesting...
That's how I've always tried to do that. That's how my girlfriend Anna, she also is playing a sorcerer in another game that I'm running, Shadow Sorcerer, which is probably one of the few actually decent sorcery subclasses.
They're all good, I know what you mean.
They're horrible, and you know it, dude. And I'm sure
so...
Wild Magic is your favorite.
No, actually.
Really?
It's a tie between the Divine and...
Well, Divine... Okay, I was going to say, Divine is actually probably the best of all of them.
Because it's a healer.
Yeah, it's a healer, but it also expands their spell list to a decent extent, too. Unlike a lot of the other ones that don't all automatically expand their spell lists. Like, they're one of the few of these that actually expand their spell list.
Yeah.
Which they desperately need.
You should look at the new one.
But anyway, coming through... Oh, the Lunar... Oh, yeah, I've heard tell of the Lunar Sorcerer. But yeah, moving forward... They do not get anything with armor, unlike wizards with like some of their subclasses and stuff. So they are always super squishy. They are the squishiest class of any of the classes because they don't really have anything that gives them any increased defense, except for like the Draconic Bloodline, and that's about it though. And they don't even give them again proficiency with actual stuff. But we'll go ahead and pop right into the subclasses to start. I would say probably my favorite subclass would be the Divine Soul.
And it's cool. It makes your shitty spellcaster into a shitty cleric.
Yeah, but you know, if you don't have a cleric, like it's pretty decent actually.
And now with what is it? If you play Circle of Dreams Druid, Divine Soul Sorcerer, Celestial Warlock, you just play only classes that are off healers.
That literally have half divine, half whatever. Like
you just play a full party, no clerics, no paladins.
No clerics, no paladins, no bards.
Only no bard is was the first like off healer.
Yeah, that is technically
and artificer. You play only off healers. It's the best part.
No, I would agree. I think that would be really cool because, like, you all can do a little bit of something that gives survivability to everybody collectively, and that could be a really cool dynamic. But I also like Divine Soul again for the flavor.
Oh, it's great.
It's like, again, because you can be like, a sorcerer that got your divine magic, by a god. If you're an offspring of a god, or maybe if you just like were touched, or like if you had a interaction or whatever, and it gives you the similarly to both paladin and cleric, the ability to talk with like a deity or interact with them, which would be a cool aspect.
Or be an unwanted child of a deity.
Exactly. But it still gives you the ability to interact. It gives you that excuse to be able to interact with a divine entity and creature, which is always fun and cool. But one of the biggest things, again, is the expanded spell list that you get. Very few of the sorcerer subclasses actually give you more spells. They just give you features. But this, if you are, I guess, depending on your affinity or what your
all of them get extra spells.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I looked through them, and not all of them get extra spells. I think they like
all of them get extra spells.
Do they?
It's part of the, except for Shadow.
Draconic. You don't get extra spells for Draconic Ancestor. No.
I don't think you get it for Wild Magic either.
You don't.
All the new ones you get it for.
Again, because it needed it.
Yeah, because Clockwork, Aberrant.
Yeah, all of the original ones, you didn't get extra spells. You just got extra features.
Shadow Magic isn't an original.
Shadow Magic is relative. It's not. Let me see here.
This was Mordecai's.
Tome of Foes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that.
So it doesn't get any.
Well, I mean, technically, freaking Xanathar is.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Xanathar's.
Like.
That's old now. Oh my
God. Xanathar's is old. Like that's something like I would consider Xanathar's original.
I remember when it wasn't. Storm doesn't get it either.
But yeah, Storm does not. That was my first one. Yeah, no, even Shadow Magic doesn't give you an expanded spell slot. So yeah, like again, very few of them, except for the newer ones, give you an expanded spell list. They just don't. So you're just like, eh. But Divine Magic, all the new ones give you at least one more spell. That's actually helpful too, for that matter, as well as your features. Such as, with Divine Magic, depending on your alignment, you get Cure Wounds, Inflict Wounds. Honestly, Inflict Wounds is phenomenal spell to have, for sure. Cure Wounds, okay. Bless, fantastic. Bane, good. Protection from good and evil, decent. So all of those, regardless of whatever your affinity is, like, you get some decent good stuff. Like, it's pretty awesome. Favored by the gods. Pretty great, especially at first level, like, feature.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Divine Power guards your destiny. If you fail a saving throw or miss an attack roll, you can roll 2d4 and add it to the total, possibly changing the outcome. And you can get it back at a short or long rest. That's great. That's fantastic. Empowered healing. At 6th level, whenever you're an ally within 5 feet of rolls dice to determine the hit points, you can spend one sorcerer point to reroll any of those dice once, provided you aren't incapacitated. So, you can literally spend one sorcery point again, sorcery point economy, super freaking helpful if it was done well. Allows you to reroll any number of those dice. You don't have to roll all of them.
No, any number.
Any of the, like if you roll high for one and you roll garbage for most of them, you can reroll all of those for one sorcery point.
Yeah.
And maybe get more. That's awesome. 14th level, Otherworldly Wings. Anytime you're allowed the ability to fly at any point, fantastic. Bonus action, manifest a pair of spectral wings from your back, and while the wings are present, you have a flying speed of 30 feet. That's awesome, and they last until you're incapacitated, die, or dismiss them. So they're just there until you choose not to have them anymore, or you get knocked out or die. And it's just, it's dope. And they also have the added, flavor feature of, like, depending on your, affinity, you have either eagle wings, bat wings, or dragonfly wings. And then last but not least, Unearthly Recovery. At 18th level, you gain the ability to overcome Reeve's Injury as a bonus action. And when you have fewer than half of your hit points, you can regain a number of hit points equal to half your hit point maximum. that's pretty decent.
Yeah, you go from half to full.
Literally. If you are literally at, like, right under half...
That's not even the only subclass that has something similar to that.
No, it doesn't. There are also things that have it. But again, this is still fantastic. That is great recovery, especially at 18th level. You're going to be taking hella hits. And so, especially as a sorcerer, you're probably... That essentially just gives you another half, like, 10 hit points, basically, on top of your already stuff. So you just get extra hit points for that. Fantastic subclass. That is, again, this is probably the one subclass, in my opinion, that makes Sorcerer relatively viable for me. Like, most of the rest of them is just... And I like Shadow Magic, too, to be fair. Shadow Magic...
I'm pretty sure Shadow Magic is one of the worst.
Ironically...
the actual, what they get. Well, like, Storm... I mean, it's not as pretty, but
Storm is bad. Like...
It gets a lot of stuff, though.
It gets a lot of stuff, but it's just not applicable unless there's very specific conditions met for most of them.
Yeah.
Again, their capstone thing, like the ability to fly and stuff.
Immune to lightning and thunder damage, and being able to fly and share that flight is
well, here's the thing. Barely anything does thunder damage.
I know.
So that's null and void.
So
lightning damage is slightly more common, but not very. No. And again, being able to magically fly is nice, but it's 18th level.
Yeah, I know.
You're barely ever gonna get there.
I know. Let's be real, the only sorcerer on this list that we really need to talk about as the best class is Wild Magic Sorcery.
Yeah, I mean, we have to talk about it, because that's everyone's favorite.
In theory, no one ever plays them.
Not everybody plays Wild Magic. Are you kidding me?
I've never been at a table with a Wild Magic Sorcerer.
I have. I was literally at a table with I guess it wasn't a Wild Magic. Well, no, it was a Wild Magic Sorcerer. I've also been at a table with a Wild Magic Barbarian. Everybody loves the Wild Magic.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, when given the opportunity, she did switch to a Totem Barbarian.
Yeah, because Wild Magic sucks. For that, at least. So, I'm going to put my favorite Sorcerer as Wild Magic. It's so fun. I mean, I like all of them, except for... No, I do like all of them, unfortunately. The problem is that the chance that I will play a sorcerer is so low. Because every time I do, I try to make it into some stupid gimmick or just a really...
Because that's about all you can do with a sorcerer.
You know, if he didn't die to all those guardsmen shooting him dead in the street...
Oh, I'm sure he would have...
He would have been great. He would have been effective in the campaign. Sorcerer, not the greatest. The problem is that, as we've discussed, it's good up front, and then it just kind of falls off.
Really quick.
You need...
Really early.
If you get if you get a DM who likes to give you good items, and likes to give you, special things that are very good for specifically your class or your character, Sorcerer's fine. I've played in games where... We had a sorcerer. He was a version of... Or no, it was actually the Tyranny of Dragons, all of that campaign where you kill Tiamat at the end.
Mm-hmm. Spoilers.
Yeah, whatever.
It's been out for years.
Yeah, you can read the book. I feel like it's from like the 80s. So we had a character. We all died. We did a full TPK. Restarted the party at a higher level. And we had a sorcerer. It was fine. He went Draconic Bloodline, did all the stuff that you would see in a dragon killing campaign. And my DM gave him a custom magic item that let him cast a couple spells in like a couple slots or whatever.
Yeah.
And it let him change the element of the spell.
Yeah.
Because his whole play was, he was basically a chromatic dragon personified as a person.
Yeah.
And he effective in combat, did everything he was supposed to do, built the character right. Still would have been better as a wizard.
Yep.
No, we won that one.
Okay, but still would have been better as a wizard.
Yeah, way better as a wizard. But it's just the character concept was great. The flavor was good.
It is, and obviously having the feature of being able to like go Draconic. Ironically now, null and void because of Draconic Transformation being a 7th level spell. And it's also just inherently better than the Sorcerer Draconic Bloodline.
Yeah, you can do that like right away though.
You don't get all the good shit right away. Like again, you at 14th level, you get your Dragon Wings finally. You just get that with Draconic Transformation. Yeah, and you also get Blind Sight out to 30 feet with Draconic. Plus, as a bonus action for that entire time you're Draconic, you can shoot a Force Blast breath weapon. 60-foot cone that is 6d8 of force
To be
damage.
fair, though, this is permanent flight.
Well, until you dismiss it, sure.
It's permanent.
Yeah, you don't
There's no
have
time frame.
Yeah, you don't have to dismiss it. Like same thing with the Divine Soul, which is great.
Yeah.
But it is also like, and same thing with the Storm Sorcerer, you know. But it's like, you know, and it's nice that this is at 14th level rather than 18th level. But it is also like, you have wings now, so
That's cool.
now you're going to have to go to your tailor, I suppose, you know. And it's only equal to your current speed. Whereas Draconic Transformation, you have 60 foot of fly speed, just naturally. Yeah, And Draconic Presence, what the shit is this? For your 18th level feature.
So bad.
You channel the dread presence of your dragon ancestor, causing those around you to become awestruck or frightened. As an action, you have to spend 5, count 5, sorcery
That's
points
a quarter of your points at level 20.
to draw on this power and exude an aura of awe or fear. Hey, your choice. At least you get to choose, right? To a distance of 60 feet. And for 1 whole minute, or until you lose concentration, so you're concentrating on it like a spell.
That's why you take Warcasters to advantage.
No, I'm saying you can't do a concentration spell while you're doing this.
You can. You can do both.
Are
because
you-
this is not considered a spell.
But it's like as
It's
if
saying
you
it's
were
using the same
concentrating.
rules. Not if
But
you're...
okay, it says as if you were casting a constant. Okay, I don't know.
I'd let someone use both.
I would too.
There's no reason.
Because it's stupid.
Yeah,
otherwise,
you can't
but
just
there's technically a
neuter
rule
them.
that you cannot concentrate on more than one thing at a time. Because there are also plenty of other things that specifically say you can do this without having to concentrate.
Yeah, I know.
So
I still
by those those wordings,
I don't like it.
I agree.
This is bad.
Each hostile creature that starts its turn in this aura must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed or frightened until the aura ends. A creature that succeeds on the saving throw is immune to your aura for 24 hours. That's it. And again, unless, like you've constantly been saying, unless you homebrew a lot of shit about this,
It's bad.
it's garbage. It's
don't-
hot, steaming garbage.
Can I be real?
Now, even more now so than it used to be.
I don't want to talk about sorcerers anymore.
Me neither.
It's a little depressing.
Yeah, isn't it though? Let's continue
let's go to rogues.
on. Rogues, love them. Love rogues. Everybody loves a rogue,
Rogues.
except for people that, you know,
Don't like rogues.
don't like
But
rogues.
that's very few.
I mean, it depends. Everyone hates a certain type of rogue, which unfortunately a lot of people tend to veer off into,
Oh, you
unfortunately.
mean the one that disappears and just kills people or like leaves the party and does fucked up shit and then comes back?
Yeah, all that. Or
Yeah.
steals from the party, or is a
I
murder
forgot
hobo.
about that one.
Yeah. How could you forget it? It's literally a subclass.
Because I don't do it.
Yeah, but how? It's
don't
such
do
a
any of
huge
it.
trope, and that's good because you shouldn't, because you'd be
I
a
like rogue.
turd burglar if you were.
Ooh. Wow,
But-
that was,
I mean, not just you. I'm just saying in general. Anybody who does that is a turd
Gonna
burglar.
make me blush.
Again, so rogues rely on skill, stealth, and their foes' vulnerabilities to get the upper hand in any situation. They have a knack for finding the solution to just about any problem, demonstrating a resourcefulness and versatility that is cornerstone of any successful adventuring party. Great summarization of a rogue and kind of what they do.
They're awesome.
They're pretty cool. Like, you know, yes, some people will say they're a bit of a one-hit wonder or whatever, but, you know, plenty of classes are in certain ways. But I also feel like, at least in recent years, like a lot of the new rogue subclasses help offset that very nicely. So, starting at level 1, you get your all your best stuff, pretty much. You get your expertise right away for all of your proficiencies that you just get from having a class. You get sneak attack, which is going to be your big thing the entire time that you play this class. And you get thieves' cant, which is decent enough.
I mean,
like, honestly, it doesn't matter too much unless you have a session that's like, you know, doing
Well,
other thief
you have to
rogue
meet
type
other
of things.
rogues. Yeah.
Yeah.
The cool thing about rogues is essentially they have good skills.
They do.
Perception, stealth, sleight of hand, persuasion,
And
investigation, deception, acrobatics, and athletics, and insight. They're good being a skill monkey because you get
they are
by level
next,
6
next
you get
to
4 expertises,
yeah,
which is the same as Bard.
Yeah, well, again, next to Bard, like Bard and Rogue are the two skill monkey classes. Like they just are the best because
Yeah.
they literally at certain levels they just can't fail at all.
Yeah.
Really.
Rogues are really good at not taking damage, with both having
Uncanny dodge as well as
dodge
evasion.
and evasion, and eventually, you basically just don't take
Well,
damage.
I mean, it's exceedingly hard because eventually you even get so good that you automatically gain proficiency on wisdom saving throws at a certain level, which is fantastic because you already have dex and intelligence and then wisdom. So the only other thing would be like con, really.
Wait, when do you get this?
You get it slippery mind.
15th level.
Yeah, 15th level slippery mind. You get proficiency, so you never have to like take resilient for that. If you take resilient and get con,
I'd always take con.
Yeah, me too.
Con.
Everybody does because that's what you do with resilient. You always just take con because very few things have proficiency with con saving throws. So you just always take resilient con. And so if you do that, you get slippery mind at 15th level. You have every freaking base covered that you really need to, like. Yeah, anything that requires you to make a charisma save will probably be super deadly. This is true.
Yeah.
But very few things ever do.
And if you just play someone with like a half elf or a half, you just resist most things that give you charisma saving throws anyways, because you can't be put to sleep or charmed.
Well, no. Wisdom is mostly charmed.
Is it?
Yeah. Charisma is mostly teleportation.
Oh.
So, like, most charisma saves will literally take you out of the fight.
Cool. That's
so, yeah, most, like, for instance, banishment and plane shift. You're gone. Oh. And that's charisma saves.
That's fun.
Or also, like, I think, like, force cage sometimes, or, like, if you're trying to, like, get out of, like, a force cage, charisma usually has to do with your strength of presence. Like, so again, if somebody teleports you, it's usually a charisma save. Yeah. And so that would be dire, but that rarely ever happens. Very few enemies or creatures, probably, like, towards the end game, are really going to do that. So you don't have to worry about that as much.
You get up to like your last two abilities. You get level 18 elusive, no attack roll can have advantage against you.
As long as you're conscious. So.
Yeah, and level 20, which,
it's not the worst, but it's still bad. Stroke of luck, you literally just can succeed. You can get a natural 20 on like a skill check, and then if you attack and miss an attack, you just succeed. So it's not even a crit on the attack.
No, it's just you succeed.
You just succeed on hitting them.
Now they already have this.
I feel like you should allow them to
get They have this already at an earlier level in Soul Knife.
Yeah.
Where you just roll your psionic die.
Yeah.
And if you fail, you don't even lose the psionic die.
No, you don't.
It's great.
No, I love the psionic too so much. I've made one recently. But yeah, so essentially, all of their skills make rogues amazing. Like again,
difficult to hit.
Super difficult to hit. They're fast.
They're good at what they do.
They deal really great damage. As long as you have enough things in place, and with all the new subclasses, you almost always have the ability to use your sneak attack, which is obviously your bread and butter. Some of them can even use it more than once, which is great. I believe that would be Inquisitive. I believe the Inquisitive rogue, either Inquisitive or Mastermind rogue, can use, or maybe it's the Scout. Hang on, let me see. Scout, Sudden Strike. Yeah. Sudden Strike at 17th level for the Scout. You can take attack action on your turn. You can make one additional attack action as a bonus action. This attack can benefit from your sneak attack even if you've already used it this turn. But you can't use your sneak attack against the same target more than once. So you can use sneak attack against two separate targets. I believe the Inquisitive actually is able. The Inquisitive is able to add like 3 extra dice to their thing or something. That or the Master. I might be thinking of the Mastermind. One of the two. Either way, still specifically for the classes, all the stuff you get for rogues, you get cunning action at level 2, awesome. Bonus action, dash, disengage, hide.
Dodge.
That's gonna be. I don't think you can dodge. No, you can't dodge. You can only dash. It's only the 3. You can dash, disengage, or hide. Yeah. So you still have to use an action to dodge, but that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like. That they're the only class that can do that just baseline.
Bonus action hide is the bread and butter.
Yeah, of a rogue, because that will help you get your sneak attack instantly. Like if you're a class that doesn't allow you to do that with other things, you can just hide, so long as obviously you have something to hide behind or whatever. Like obviously there's a whole thing about like how to hide in D&D, which is something else to talk about another time. But that, being able to disengage or even dash, like that makes rogues one of the fastest classes, just straight up, out the gate, just, baseline. And again, at level 2, that's huge. After that, you get your roguish archetype. Fantastic, you get all kinds of great stuff. Uncanny dodge, XP, we already talked about that. Evasion. Reliable talent is what we were talking about before. I think both bards also get this, is essentially at 11th level, you just can't really fail a skill check. Whenever you make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat a d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. So you can never fail. essentially. You're always at a 10 for anything you're proficient or expertise in, which at this point will be a lot of things.
I mean, for context, I have it's a mixed bag, but it's a level 15 rogue fighter.
Yeah.
Mostly rogue. But you say, just for, semblance sake, you can only roll a 10. But you have a plus 15 to acrobat.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't matter.
Roll a 25.
It's a 25 every time. Like, again, that's what I mean. You just can't fail. You just can't. And then at freaking 14th level, you just get blind sense. Like, now, for some classes, like mostly the martial class, fighter classes, you get, like, for fighting style, you can get blind sense as a fighting style.
Blind fighting?
Yeah, blind fighting. But, like, that is one of your fighting style. You have other things that could honestly be better
and most
at that time.
I think only one class gets more than one fighting style, and that's fighter. Because rogue doesn't.
I think maybe Blood Hunter does too now, maybe.
Well, you have to, like, take an extra thing for that. It's like you lose something else for taking it, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. But either way, like, yeah, like you get one of those things at, like, early level, and so that's it. But with rogues at 14th level, you just have that now. You just have blind sight out to 10 feet now, just inherently.
Which is cool.
Which is dope. Like, it's not very long, sure, but that's still, like, you can't, say for instance somebody pops a fog cloud down, or a darkness
snuck
spell.
up on, basically.
You can't be snuck up on, and you also can't, you can always attack somebody in melee range. Like, there's no way, unless they're, like, literally, like, underground. They can't hide from you.
No.
They cannot hide from you, which is awesome. And we already talked about the last few, so at that point, let's go. We also have the optional class now, too.
I love
Steady Aim.
This.
Steady Aim was a wonderful addition, I believe, from Tasha's, that really changed the game a lot, because, again, this is also something that can finally help rogues get their sneak attack.
Without hiding.
The caveat, obviously, though, is you cannot move. And if at any point you do move, you can't use this. So it's either you have to stay still and, like, do this at the top of your turn, or you move and you can't use this. Yeah. So, but it gives you more options, which is always great and nice.
And cool part about Steady Aim, most people would assume that its only use is for ranged attacks.
It's
not true.
It's not.
If you're stuck in 5 foot
also
range,
melee.
You can forego your forego your second or third attack depending on how you spec your rogue.
Yeah.
If you multi-class, and you can either just have one attack with advantage, or take your 2 attacks without advantage.
It's true. So it gives yourself advantage on your next attack roll on the current turn. So, you use it up, of course, but you do not have to do at range. You can do it straight up in melee, which is awesome. Just, keep in mind, you cannot move when you do so. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the subclasses, and it has so many subclasses, and so many good ones, in my opinion, too.
They all do something well.
Well, they all do obviously something well, because that's literally the name of the game with the rogue, is the rogue just does whatever it does really freaking well. And so all of them do it, but to be fair, some of the things that some of these things do just aren't really that important or good or great.
Yeah.
So it's like... So first off, we'll start with our favorite ones, as we do. By all means, Sam, why don't you take the first one?
Well, I have 2.
Please do.
And I've only played one of them, so I can't talk to the effectiveness of it. But my top 2 are definitely the Soul Knife and the Swashbuckler.
Yeah.
Mostly because they're just out of ordinary enough for a class like this. They do not require you to hide. They do not require, like... They're both fun. They both have enough flavor and extra shit that you can do that I very much enjoy, and I don't get as bored. They do have kind of that upper hand on some of the older subclasses in that way, like for Arcane Trickster, Assassin.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I will still say, like, I'll go to bat, Arcane Trickster is actually still so relevant. Like, Arcane...
Which is weird to me, because I don't like... quartercasters.
Yeah, no, I mean, normally I'm not a huge fan of them either, but the Arcane Trickster, all the things that it gets you work so well, and they're so cool, and they're so intrinsic to the class. Like, it's literally its own class in and of itself. Like, it's not even just like a shittier, like, wizard. It is, but also not, because it has other special things that give it so much cool stuff, especially its capstone ability, which is freaking amazing. At least if you're fighting a specific type of enemy. But yes, please continue with the Swashbuckler.
Yeah, no, that's probably the other of my favorite. It's a duelist class. It's a one-on-one. Like if you're trying to basically pick someone and be like, I'm gonna kill just that guy.
Yeah,
no one come over here.
Yeah,
that guy.
We're having our own thing right now. Yeah. Okay, we're having a cool duel, and don't interfere.
And in a lot of fights in D&D, at least in my experience, dueling is not something you normally do.
Because it's a cooperative storytelling game. So you're
also you just, depending on the kind of maps you're playing in, there's just always going to be someone else near you. But for me, personally, if you catch someone out alone as the swashbuckler, it quickly turns into a very fun encounter for you.
Yeah.
Because basically, say you're in a hallway and it's only one person wide. It's not, if you just catch someone, the first person.
Well, and you're most likely going to with the feature because you're allowed to use your charisma for your initiative rolls.
Yeah.
So if you also take like mobile on top of that,
you're here
or observant or whatever.
Alert.
Like
is it alert?
No, I think it's alert. Yeah, you're right. Alert, and mobile. Like what? Like it's well, actually, you don't even need mobile because you have fancy footwork, so you don't even need to do that. As long as you attack them. Gone.
Yeah, you basically, your whole thing is, I'm going to walk in to someone who's alone, stab them real good, and then walk backwards away from them again.
It's the epitome of guerrilla tactics.
Yeah. So you're a midline fighter, it's fun, the kind of, because basically they're trying to blend together
it's like
pirate class.
Yeah. It's like a pirate rogue, which again is like, they call pirates rogues. Yeah. It absolutely fits the niche here, and it is one of the coolest ones, especially with all of the quiz. It blends a lot of charisma with your dex abilities, which is really awesome. Like I like that a lot because it gives you a lot of ability to be very boisterous and very role play and everything, and it's just awesome. I also agree. I am also a fan of the Soul Knife quite a bit, but I would say my two favorites, or well, honestly, I guess technically I have 3, because mine. I guess I don't know. Maybe Soul. Well, I like Soul Knife. Maybe it wouldn't be my favorite though per se. It depends. Nah, it probably would be. I love Swashbuckler. I love Soul Knife, and I love Arcane Trickster. And since you already kind of talked about the Swashbuckler a bit. We can talk a little bit about the Soul Knife, especially since it's a little bit new and such. And I'm actually using one in a campaign I'm DMing now as well. To be fair, all psi-powered classes are usually pretty powerful. You know, they always have been in every edition of Dungeons and Dragons. Like,
we've never had official for 5e. It's always been
not 5e. Yeah, it's always been playtest.
Every time they put them out, they weren't even full classes. You could only take them to level 10. Yeah. They were way too powerful.
They were because again, like they were using the same stuff. Like 3.5. Like what was the Mystic and 3.5?
Yeah, Mystic.
Busted. Like just
I never played it, but I know I've
me neither. I never played it, but I've seen it, and it's busted. Like because I was just saying, any psi-powered subclass, even like the fighter subclass too,
it's pretty good.
Is pretty good, and it's just like, all right,
they've definitely toned them down
as they should.
Raw power,
as they should, because
it's essentially for the Soul Knife. They give you some extra utility, some extra way to do some extra damage with the psychic blades. And you get free thrown weapons, which is fun.
You get free throwing weapons that are not physical. They disappear, and you can always get them back, and they have a longer range than normal, like, melee, like normal dagger.
So your range is 60 feet. It cannot go longer. That is the one thing about this class that I did not like, was that they added in that one thing that said it can't go any longer. You don't have to give it a long range, but I'd like you to not put that in there so I can use it with Sharpshooter. Do I still use it with Sharpshooter? Of course I do.
Of course you do.
Because I just ignore cover. But I would have loved to be able to throw knives.
You can also do the -5 to get that +2 damage.
I don't usually, but I need to start doing it more.
I was going to say, like, there's no reason not to. On top of sneak attack, like, the -5, and at this point, like, you're probably going to hit with the...
It's just annoying that I can't throw it longer than 60 feet. Because I literally made like a throwing knife build.
Yep, no, I'm sure you did.
It's fun though.
I'm sure you did. No, it is.
And like later on, you get like
well, even more than that, you literally get really cool psychic powers that allow you to do, like, honestly, even one of the coolest things right off the bat is you get the ability to communicate telepathically.
Oh. Psychic Link, you can put all your party members together
literally
for like 8 hours.
Yeah, well, depending on the level. Like, the higher level you go, the higher level you go, the higher the roll can be. And so, like, you can literally do it for like 12 hours. I think it's like a D12 at some point plus, I don't know. Oh, maybe it's a D8 plus like your modifier or something. But Psychic Whispers. For number of hours equal to the number rolled, chosen as an action, choose one up to number creatures equal to your efficiency bonus, and then roll 1 psychic energy die. And you can speak telepathy with them to send or receive a message. No action required within 1 mile of each other.
That's so cool. Basically, like,
it's awesome.
The only funny thing about it is that you're not linking your friends together. You're only linking you and each person.
Because you can establish between yourself, perfect for quiet as an action. You can see up to a number of creatures equal. For a number of hours, the chosen creatures can speak telepathy with you. You can speak. Okay, yeah. So it is.
Now, what basically ends up happening is if you have a cool DM, they'll just let you talk to everybody. Because, in reality,
to be fair, they have a spell for that, though.
To be fair, what you'd have to do is every time someone says something, you would have to repeat it to the other person. And that is terrible.
That's annoying. It's super freaking annoying.
What I like to say
I hate being the middleman in real life.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. So what I told every time it happens, I told my DM, this is what read the ability. He goes, so you can talk to everyone, and they can talk to you, but they can't talk to each other. And I was like, yes. He's like, well, you can be the middleman. I'm like, do I have to say it every time? He's like, oh, of course not.
No, yeah.
He's like, no, you just talk. Everyone can talk to each other.
I also think, though, in character, that would probably drive the rogue crazy, being like...
Not just that, it would drive everyone nuts. You can't, because
it's not great communication. Communication breaks down exponentially when trying to come from a second-hand source.
Yeah, like, it's just not fun.
It really isn't.
We just treat it as everyone's talking.
Well, it's literally like Psychic Link. It's literally like the spell Psychic Link.
Yeah,
Psychic Link allows you to connect everybody's mind to each other.
Yeah, and the cool part is, because you're talking telepathically, especially when we get party members that aren't used to doing that, we're all sitting around a table where Psychic Linked at a bar or something, and we're all just staring at each other.
Yeah, no, nobody's talking.
People get weirded out, and it's hilarious.
But also, again, it gets really cool abilities at 9th level as well, adding on to its already dope stuff. Specifically the homing strikes and psionic or psychic teleportation. If you make an attack roll with the psychic blades and miss start, you can roll a psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the attack roll. If this causes the attack to hit, you expend the psionic energy die. So basically, you can just, as Sam said before, it's like the 20th level ability, only lower. And if you don't, if it doesn't succeed, enough, you don't lose anything.
Yeah.
And technically, you can do it more times in a row because as long as you have psionic energy die, you're good.
You can do it once per attack.
Yeah.
Because there's no limit.
No, again, you can roll as much as you have psionic energy die, which aren't infinite, but
you get a good amount of them.
You get a lot of them.
I do love the psychic teleportation.
Psychic teleportation is probably my favorite ability. I think
flavor-wise, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, as a bonus action, you manifest psychic blades, expend 1 psionic energy die, and roll it. Throw the blade at an occupied space you can see up to a number of feet away equal to 10 times the number rolled on the die, and you teleport to that space, and the blade vanishes. So you can literally, at least, you can always teleport 10 feet. At the very least. So if you're say, up close and personal with a really big, dangerous dude and you need to get out of there, you already used your bonus action for psychic blades or whatever, you just you use that shit and you just teleport.
Yeah.
And you can also use it to even get over a wall or something because you can throw 60 feet. But obviously if you throw it, and depending on what it is, but it's still really cool. Psychic Veil at 13th level. As an action, you can become invisible along with anything you're wearing for 1 hour or until you dismiss this effect. It ends early if you deal damage or a creature you are forced to make a saving throw.
Which means you can still do things that don't require anyone else to do anything. So if you you want to use items or do something, as long as they don't affect anyone else or do damage, you can stay invisible.
You can keep buffing, as long as you don't deal damage to a creature,
or make someone make a saving throw,
or force a creature to make a saving throw, you can just stay invisible for 1 hour. That's pretty awesome. Which I guess technically is how normal invisibility works too. Actually, you can't cast a spell. Technically, this you can cast a spell.
Yeah, well, you don't usually have them, but still, you could use some of your other stuff, telekinetic movement or
exactly
as well.
And then their last capstone spell or feature is Rend Mind. You can sweep your psychic blades directly through a creature's mind. When you use psychic blades to deal sneak attack damage to a creature, you can force that target to make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, the target is stunned for a full minute. You can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns and ends the effect on a success, but still, that's okay. You know, it's not the best, but you know, obviously because monks can just do that as many times as they have.
Yeah, and to be fair,
points.
Rogues are also one of those classes that I don't take them full level 20. Like usually they're either
it's true
part of a class or I do half.
No, they're great multi-class classes for sure.
They're awesome.
Yeah,
even just a 2-level dip if you're playing a hunter
for sure,
like a ranger. They're good.
And one final thing, just to touch again, Arcane Trickster. One thing that people might try to say it's one of the worst, but I'm like, there's some dope crap that you get with Arcane Trickster. Like, again, when you get this, you immediately are like a 3rd level, you get 3 cantrips, same as a wizard, and 3 spells. And you get 2 1st level spell slots. But going all the way down, once you reach max level, the highest level slots you can get are only 4th level, and at that point you will have, you only have 2 of those, but 4th level slots, again, as we said, are already still pretty badass. Plus you get 3rd level slots, you could literally get haste, you can get fireball, you could get fly, like, you get a lot of the good stuff already there, and by that point you'll have 3 of those slots. But cool things about the Arcane Trickster, you get a feature known as Mage Hand Legerdemain. So basically you can cast Mage Hand and you can make it invisible and perform additional stuff with it. So you can pick locks with it, you can pickpocket people with it, retrieve an item by another creature, and you can use Thieves' Tools and all kinds of other stuff. So you can literally do like a bunch of dope stuff, like almost Skyrim-esque, like planning stuff on people. And you can do it without being noticed if you make a successful stealth check. In addition, you can grant an action, and you can use a bonus action to control the hand instead of an action, which is even better.
It's action economy.
Yeah. Same thing. Magical Ambush at level 9. If you're hidden from a creature and you cast a spell, it has disadvantage on a saving throw. And there's so few things that give disadvantage to like saving throws.
Yeah, that's a nice
and so like again, as you're gonna be hidden, so literally you can just bonus action hide and then cast a spell, and it'll automatically have disadvantage on the saving throw, which is huge. It's huge, especially again for Fireball or whatever else, like, that's awesome. And then Versatile Trickster, it's okay.
Spell Thief is a tough one for me.
Well, Spell Thief is really cool, but it's very situational.
Because, so, tell me if I'm reading this right. You can use a reaction to force the creature to make a saving throw with its spellcasting ability modifier. The DC equals your spell save DC. On a failed save, you negate the spell's effect against you, and you steal the knowledge of the spell if it is at least level 1 and of a level you can cast. You can't do that if someone casts a 6th level fireball on you, can you?
No.
Even though it's a 3rd level spell, because they're casting it at 6th level.
Correct. It has. So that's a way to get around this. Because again, no one might necessarily upcast it right away.
Yeah, but this is like.
But again, here's the thing. Here's the caveat though. If you take it, the creature can't cast that spell
100%.
until 8 hours have passed. So if they cast a fireball at normal level and you're just like, and you suck it up, they can't cast fireball for the rest of that encounter.
It's weird because for the most part, when I play games, if there's guys casting it towards the end, when you would have a level 17 ability, they're not casting 3rd level spells. Even if they are casting fireball, they're upcasting it or
potentially. Well, again, because they might do it as like, I feel like a lot of the time they cast baseline first, and then when they run out of their normal spell slots, then they upcast, is usually what happens. They don't necessarily upcast immediately if they have the mileage to do lower first, because they can use higher spells
at those
levels for higher spells. And so it's like, yeah, obviously it would probably be kind of busted, for instance, if it's like, oh, I cast Disintegrate, and then it's like...
Well, I would just say you could, as long as the spell is of that level. So you can upcast Fireball to 8th level, but because you're casting a 3rd level spell, like a spell that is a 3rd level spell, I can still steal it. I don't know how it works, though.
No, it would be if the spell is at least 1st level and of a level you can cast. So...
You can cast with the 4th level spells. So it's a little bit of a weird wording. I'd have to look it up. I like the ability.
I think it's really cool. And again, like with a bit of flavor, too, if you like homebrewed it, for instance, to give the ability to maybe like store the spell for longer or make it so that like you can cast it, more times yourself. Or even like maybe you can help even invigorate your own spell slots. Like you get your spell slots back if you like absorb the level of the spell. Like that would be really dope. But same thing, Versatile Trickster is a 13th level, and you get the ability to distract targets with your Mage Hand as a bonus action, so you get advantage. So free sneak attack with that as well. So you
Without
don't need,
having to hide.
Yeah, you don't need to hide, and you get advantage plus sneak attack, which is great. So that's why, and you also just get extra spells.
Which are
with
always
it.
good.
And it's always good. Yeah, it's just Arcane Trickster is actually, in my opinion, one of the best. But moving on from Rogue, we have the Ranger next.
I love a Ranger.
Always love a good old Ranger. I feel like Rangers don't get enough love that they
really
should.
Don't. Warriors of the Wilderness, Rangers specialize in hunting the monsters that threaten the edges of civilization. Humanoid raiders, rampaging beasts and monstrosities, terrible giants, and deadly dragons. They learn to track their quarry as a predator does, moving stealthy through the wilds and hiding themselves in brush and rubble. Rangers focus their combat training on techniques that are particularly useful against their specific favored foes. Now, Ranger, for a long time, was widely considered the worst.
Oh yeah,
for 5e,
especially
early on in 5e,
Beast
they could not keep up with rogues or fighters.
Well, the issue being is that I feel like Wizards just didn't know what to do with the Ranger, because the Ranger again was like. It literally was, as Sam just said, it was a shittier version of a fighter and a shittier version of a druid. Like they just
and a rogue
and rogue
do any
yeah.
With it well.
They couldn't and a lot of the stuff that they were supposed to be good at was just too like it was too centralized or like situational. Like they just, a lot of their features were meant to be like, hey, like it says, we wander the wilderness, we track prey, we do all this stuff. And it's like, well, literally, there are going to be plenty of campaigns that have nothing to do with any of that. Like, and so it's like they then become even more worthless.
Yeah, but they have updated them slightly.
They have.
They've given them some optional class features, better subclasses. I actually quite like where they're sitting on the newer subclasses. I would stay away, completely far away from Beastmaster or Hunter.
They've switched some things up for both Beastmaster and I think Hunter, but I also agree.
Why play Hunter when you can play Monster Slayer?
Yeah, literally. There's still just better things all around than either of those two.
Pretty solid. You get a D10 as your hit die, so you have a
There's
decent
only one higher.
Yeah. You get light armor, medium armor, and shields. Simple and martial weapons. Strength and dexterity as your saving throws. Your skills: animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. Again, all good skills, especially for what this class is meant to do.
Yep.
It's tracking, it's outside, it's
again, it should be, and again, I think they're making up for this in like one D&D now, is like they're making a number of classes like in like a genre of class, like this should have been like an expert class. It should have been a class like the Bard and the Rogue, that it gets like expertise on these things to be really good at this stuff, because otherwise, like you said, it can't hold up to the Rogue in terms of like, you know, skills or even like range damage at times. It can't hold up to the fighter in terms of damage output at higher levels. Again, it can't hold up to druids in terms of spellcasting. Like it just, you know, it just cannot do anything that all other classes can usually just do far better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get at level 1. You get 2 specific features, infamously known as Favorite Enemy and Natural Explorer. Favorite Enemy being you are supposed to have significant experience studying, tracking, hunting, even talking to a certain type of enemy. So you choose a type, either aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, giants, monstrosities, oozes, plants, or undead. And yeah, alternatively, you can also select 2 races of humanoids, such as gnolls and orcs, as favorite enemies.
Yeah.
So that basically is supposed to allow you to have, like, advantage on, you know, survival checks, or intelligence checks, or confirmation, and you also, like, learn a language of one of them.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, even right there, you can see, like, it's like, that doesn't really, you know, help a lot in most situations. Like, it would have been better if it's like, oh, you have advantage maybe to, like, you know, certain attacks. Like, you know, you can, like, expend a resource, like, to have advantage on attacks against those creatures because you know, like, their weak spots from, like, studying them for so long. or you have advantage for like, you know, maybe luring them or tricking them. Like you can like, you know, deceive or maybe like hide from them easier because you know like their blind spots or whatever else. Like
it's the thing with Ranger is it's not pretty. They don't really give you the best starting stuff for pretty much most of your playtime. You can replace these with the optional class features,
which I would recommend for at least Natural Explorer.
Yeah, Natural Explorer.
Like,
if you go to the optional class features,
no, I know. Optional class features are actually
Depth Explorer is fantastic.
It's good. Yeah, it's pretty freaking decent.
Multiple different proficiencies, extra walking speed, temp HP, and you get all of this at what? First, 6th, and 10th level?
Yeah.
So it's another ability that gets stronger as you level up and just makes you a better ranger.
Yeah.
Not with any specific thing.
And see, they're already showing their shit for 1D&D where it's like, at first level, like you choose one of your skill proficiencies, your proficiency bonus is double. So you get expertise for that skill. Where it's like, again, that should have just been the case to begin with.
Yeah.
But they're going in the right direction. Your walking speed increases by 5 at 6th level, and in climbing speed and swimming speed equal to your walking speed. It's like,
it's great. Again, those are things that you would expect someone who's familiar with
exactly. They know how to move. They know how to get through environments. It's like that's great, you know. And it's like same thing. First level ranger feature that replaces favorite enemies called Favored Foe. When you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can call on your Mystic Bond with nature to mark the target as your favorite enemy for 1 minute or until you lose concentration, as if you were concentrating on a spell. The first time each of your turns you hit the favorite enemy and deal damage to it, including when you mark it, you can increase that damage by 1d4. See, that's at least something.
Yeah, but the problem is that you can't have that and
Hunter's Mark.
Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, like again, if we're going by like the way it's written, the problem being is like it basically replaces like it shouldn't be concentration. It should just be it lasts for a minute because it's a D4. If
someone brought it to my table and they said, "Well, I have both of these things," I'd be like, "You could just do both."
I would let them use
one enemy. And you can't switch it around like Hunter's Mark.
No, you can't. And because again, you can use this feature to mark enemy a number of times equal to your proficiency. So it's like, yeah, you get more uses of it, but you have to redo it. That's fine. And it's also like, again, that makes sense to me on a ranger. As a hunter, you are like marking this dude. You are finding like the special spots to take that dude down even better. You deal more damage in one hit. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just let them do it.
They don't have enough raw
they
damage.
Don't. They should, because it's like they try to get them there, but then they just
with some of the subclasses as well.
Yeah, subclasses, but also even like their fighting style, even like
they have good fighting styles.
They do, but it's just not enough to bump them up.
They only really have 3 though.
Yeah.
Not 4.
But yeah, rangers also get spells very similar to druids and the like. A lot of them aren't really that great, to be honest, and usually have to do with kind of bolstering like their attacks, which is good. That I think it's the right direction.
They're okay,
but they get something, and they get also they've been granted additional spells recently, which has been helpful.
They have some spells that work with their attacks.
Exactly. Entangling, Hail of Thor, Entangling Smite, or
my
whatever.
favorite spells for ranger are things like what's the one where you make the little pocket space where you can climb up in for an hour so you can...
Oh, Rope Trick?
Yeah, things like Rope Trick.
Rope Trick's awesome. I love Rope Trick.
Cure Wounds. They have... It's basically like we have a little bit of magic.
They get Revivify now. That's great.
Like they're basically like...
Survival.
They're like field medics.
Yeah, have survival. You know, they get greater restoration now. That's awesome. They should have had greater... That's great.
I mean, you'll never use it because you'll never get to that level. But they have it. It's there.
No,
the word's there and I like it. Third level, you get your archetype... Primeval Awareness at 3rd level, which is... You can essentially focus and within a mile of you if there are any aberrations, celestials, dragons, fae, fiends, and undead. You know if they're there.
You don't know...
But you don't know their location or number.
Yeah.
It's not useful.
It's just not...
It's just not.
It's just not.
It's okay. You can use it.
I mean, it's like again, but the Paladin's Divine Sense
also doesn't tell you where they are.
If it does, unless they're behind total cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The divine sense lets you know that they are there where they are, unless they are behind total cover.
Yeah,
if they're behind total cover, then no.
Primeval Winter, it's good, I guess, if you're traveling. If you do like a hex crawl campaign, and a lot of your time is spent traveling, and you're just maybe trying to find something hidden. There's a possibility it could be helpful, but it's not something that you're going to use very often. It's just a little bit of an extra sense that you have.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It can let you know, like it's like a ping. You know, it's like a ping where you're just like, okay, we're in a
within a mile of me.
Yeah.
There is, which if you think about
so
it,
if you're
it's not that
hunting,
far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely farther than most things of this type of ability.
Well, mile's
except
not
for
that far in
maybe,
terms of,
communing
like-
with nature.
Yeah, but you can get to anywhere within a mile of you. You can get there in 20 minutes if you're walking slowly.
True.
Or if you're walking faster, 10 minutes.
No, true. And again, like I said, communing with nature does this better.
Yeah.
It gives you way more information.
Yeah, it does.
And it takes a spell slot, maybe, unless you take 10 minutes to virtual cast it, and then, So, you can... And, but it also does take a spell slot, too. I didn't realize that. Yeah, never mind. Just use commune with nature.
True. You get your normal ability score improvements.
Get extra attack at 5th level. Great.
Yeah, Landstride, which completely ruins favorite enemy, or the favorite terrain.
Yeah.
You don't need favorite terrain if you have this, because you just don't have difficult terrain.
It also just doesn't matter if it's magical, you do. So, if it's magical difficult terrain, it still affects you.
But you still have advantage on saving throws against plants and magically created.
Yeah, so if you're fighting like a druid who also just gets to move through non-magical or non-magical.
You also are fine because you have advantage on the saving throws for that either way.
Yeah.
Hide in plain sight, I like it, but it's not that useful.
It's great flavor once again, but yeah, it just doesn't ever apply.
Starting at 10th level, you can spend 1 minute creating camouflage for yourself. You must have access to fresh mud, dirt, plants, soot, and other naturally occurring materials with which to create your camouflage. Great flavor, awesome. Once you are camouflaged in this way, you can try to hide yourself by pressing up against a solid surface, such as a tree or a wall, that is at least as tall and wide as you are. You gain a plus 10 bonus to Dex stealth checks as long as you will remain there without moving or taking actions. Once you move or take an action or a reaction, you must camouflage yourself again to gain this benefit. Why?
It's just not
what it should do.
Make it a ghillie suit. You can still move with a ghillie suit.
I think what they wanted to do here, they should have just given them
pass without trace,
bonus action hide.
That too.
They should just have bonus action.
They should have given them. I think rangers can get pass without trace, but they should have just made it like a one-time thing. Like do it like once a day. You get like pass without trace. And you can bonus action hide in
You need to be that's the real so at 14th level now you can hide as a bonus action, and you can't be tracked by non-magical means.
Okay,
that's cool. Again,
who at that level who would track you non-magically?
I don't know. Well, you just have to get the medallion or the helmet that you maybe can't be scryed on, and no one will ever find you.
Or you just have
a wizard friend.
Yeah, a wizard who just casts non-detection on everybody.
Yeah. So 18. I mean, it's okay. I like it. I like that you can hide as a bonus action.
You should just be able to do that earlier, though. There's no.
I would actually say that
that's a shitty 14th
that
level.
That should be 10th level.
Yeah, if not lower. Because again, rogues can do that at 2nd level and more.
But that's kind of like their thing.
But it should already be their thing. They should already be good at hiding in camouflage. There's just no reason that they shouldn't be able to do that earlier. How is it that at 14th level, after all this, they're just now figuring out how to hide faster?
Yeah. I do enjoy the 18th level abilities.
Yeah.
Feral senses, you gain preternatural senses that help you fight creatures you can't see. When you attack a creature you can't see, your inability to see it doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls. You are also aware of the location of any invisible creature within 30 feet of you, provided that creature isn't hidden from you and you aren't blinded or deafened.
Why don't just give them blind sight to 30 feet?
That's what it is.
But they're not saying it's blind sight, though.
Because it's better than other blind sight. Blind sight's only 10 feet.
No, but as I'm saying, you can just give it blind sight to 30 feet. Because other things have blind sight to 60 feet.
Yeah. I like it, though.
But here's the problem being, right, is that it doesn't give you blind sight. So the issue being is, you can't sense things that are, you can't see them, right? It's only
so
if
you
they're...
can still attack them, you would not be able to target them with a spell.
But if they're invisible, like that's the only thing. It's like you can sense creatures or whatever that are invisible.
Yeah.
But for instance, if there's somebody like beneath you or somebody that you can't see.
Yeah, because that doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Well, because it's not blind. You just give them blind sight.
I'm okay with it.
Because rogues get blind sight.
I'm okay with it.
And they can get blind
But
sight.
only at 10 feet.
Why? Because they can already have blind sight to 10 feet. But it's like... I don't know what the hell this is.
Well, even better is there.
It should just literally increase their blind sight to 30 feet. Like, that's all it should be.
The capstone.
And their capstone...
Don't you love it?
At 20th level, they get Foe Slayer. You become an unparalleled hunter of your enemies. Once, on each of your turns, you can add your wisdom modifier to the attack roll or the damage roll of an attack you make against one of your favored enemies. You can choose to use this feature before or after the roll, before any effects of the roll are applied.
If you don't take favorite enemy, where is the... I have to find it now. You have to take favorite foe or favorite enemy. So you can only do that extra, 3 to 5 damage, depending if you max your wisdom, to the person you put your mark on. It's not good. Again.
And you can only do it, and you can only do the attack or damage roll. It's not both.
Yeah. So can I...
It's only once on each of your turns.
So this is really cool. This is really cool for me. The furthest you should go in Ranger is 8 levels, and then after that you just go into fighter or rogue. Because nothing you get matters.
No!
And why wouldn't you just take rogue at that point? Because you get
or fighter, because you'll get
you can get blind fighting.
And you'll get 3 attacks.
Yeah. So really, like, you should just take 8 levels of rogue. That's the last time you get anything. I guess you could take your 9th level, so you get an extra... Oh yeah, you need to take 9th level so you get 3rd level spells.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Or you just don't.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to get great 3rd level slots, really.
They've got more now. Let's talk about subclasses. Now, I don't know how many Rangers have you realistically played?
I've played like 3. I've played 3 Rangers. Again, Slayer, fantastic.
Monster Slayer
the Monster Slayer is mine.
I played it in Strahd. I was a wielder.
Fantastic. It really is just so great.
It's so much better. Hunter's Mark, and it's
the Slayer's Prey.
So, oh my god! So you Hunter's Mark the first turn.
Yep.
And then you Slayer's Prey the second turn. And you get an extra.
You get colossal. You get colossal as your fighting thing. You get colossal Slayer.
That's only for Hunter.
Is it only for Hunter?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you could. Damn, I thought that was for all of them, but maybe not. Archer defense.
No, it's only Hunter.
Damn, I thought it was colossal Slayer too. Well, either way, yeah, you still get Slayer's Prey. And then as well as you get in more spells, which is great. Fantastic. Supernatural Defense, that's great. And then Magic User's Nemesis is awesome. If you fight any Magic Users, you can literally make them force a saving throw to stop them from f***ing doing spells. It's a counter spell. And it's great. Even if it's a spell or a teleport.
Take that with Mage Slayer too.
I know, right?
Oh.
And even then, it's awesome because you can then counteract anytime someone tries to do some stuff. So anytime anything makes you make a saving throw, you can literally attack it before having to make the
thing is,
save.
if you want to take this all the way,
and if you hit with the attack, you immediately make the save. That's fantastic. Yeah. You literally can use your attack roll instead of a saving throw to save.
I would argue Monster Slayer is one of the... You could take this all the way. If you want.
For sure, I would. Yeah,
same
honestly,
thing with Horizon Walker and Gloomstalker.
Yeah, both. No, that's what I was gonna say. Gloomstalker, I do love.
I'm sorry, Gloomstalker is probably the best hunter, Ranger subclass right now in terms of viability.
Yeah, maybe. I love Monster Slayer so much. But I will agree. Gloomstalker, dude, just the ability. You are invisible in darkness. Because you just are. You don't have to do any. You just are.
How about the fact that the dark vision you get stacks with your own dark vision.
Yeah,
so
dude, Umbral Sight, man, that's incredible, bro.
You gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws. And if you already have it, you gain proficiency in intelligence or charisma.
That's
your choice.
Awesome, bro.
Stalker's Flirt. Like,
you learn, such that you can turn a miss. Once on each of your turns, you miss an attack, you make it another weapon attack as part of it. So you just get an extra attack. Yeah. So it's like you literally can just roll again. It's disadvantage, but you know.
Yeah.
In Shadowy Dodge, you can dodge in unforeseen ways. Whenever a creature makes attack roll against you, doesn't have advantage, you can use reaction to oppose disadvantage. So you just give it disadvantage.
Every attack.
Every time.
Every attack has disadvantage on you.
Oh, well, it has, yeah. You have to use your reaction, of course, but as long as it doesn't have advantage on you, it's just, that's it.
The Dread Ambusher is just too good.
It's just awesome.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, you increase by 10 feet, and then if you attack action, you make additional weapon attack. Like,
I'm pretty sure this is what I ran.
Yeah. Text hit, and it takes extra damage. Like, it's just great. Like honestly, though, the freaking the ability to just
be invisible
in the darkness.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Is ridiculous. Like, and nothing you do changes that.
Yeah.
You just are invisible. It just doesn't matter. Yeah. And that's an amazing, like.
Yeah, and then you get into like Horizon Walker.
You can give yourself a bonus to initiative rolls.
Also, so
yeah.
I haven't touched Swarmkeeper or Drake Warden, which are two that I really want to do.
I have, and I've looked into Drake Warden, and it is kind of cool. Like, you literally do have like a little dragon, like, companion friend.
It gets better and better and better.
Yeah, it gets better as you go, and it becomes like an actual mount because it gets bigger and stuff.
The mountain combatant feet.
And that is cool. But yeah, for sure, Gloomstalker and Monster Slayer are my two favorites. Horizon Walker is really awesome as well. Like, a friend of mine played
honestly,
Horizon
Walker. Just don't play Beastmaster.
No. Just don't play Beastmaster. Hunter's
a little better.
Again, Hunter's like with Colossal Slayer, like it has more things to help buff its damage and to stack its damage, which is nice, but you know.
Well, it's also like the Hordebreaker. Like, it's pretty great. The multi-attack stuff too.
Yeah.
Whirlwind attack. Like, you have to really spec in.
It's true.
To what you want to be good at, but it can be fun. Also, you get evasion eventually.
It's true. All right, we can move on now. We're gonna do this last one real quick, and we're gonna take a quick break. Possibly, maybe we'll split this up into a 2-part video.
Yeah, I didn't realize how long we've been talking.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have, but I also just been getting so into it. So we'll probably make this into I think a 2-part video. We'll get the latter half of the classes in part 2, but we're gonna finish up today's video and introductory sesh of classes with the Paladin. Again,
there's a lot of opinions.
Plenty people's favorite, plenty people's most hated.
Yeah.
And for various reasons that, you know, it's not like it's not understandable to a certain extent, because people can really take a lot of what the flavor of a paladin is and run way too far with it.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so, to get into that, a paladin swears to uphold justice and righteousness, to stand with the good things of the world against the encroaching darkness, and to hunt the forces of evil wherever they lurk. Different paladins focus on various aspects of the cause of righteousness, but all are bound by the oaths that grant them power to do their sacred work. Although many paladins are devoted to gods of good, a paladin's power comes as much from a commitment to justice itself as it can from a god. Paladins train for years to learn the skills of combat, mastering a variety of weapons and armor. Even so, their martial skills are secondary to the magical power they wield. Power to heal the sick and injured, to smite the wicked and the undead, and to protect the innocent and those who join them in the fight for justice. So, to be fair...
Oathbreaker. Evil Oathbreaker Paladin.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
Blackguard.
Yeah.
Again, honestly, I don't like a lot of the Oathbreakers, like... features and shit.
Doesn't matter, evil paladin.
But that's why just make a blackguard.
Yeah.
You can make any of the paladin subclasses.
Just do
conquest.
Conquest, vengeance.
I mean, vengeance could be for good, but also.
But you can make it.
But you could make it evil. You can make, honestly, in my opinion, you can make any paladin, almost any paladin class, an evil character too. It's just a blackguard paladin. That's it. And people take, and again, to be fair, like I said, with that passage I just read, like, it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, paladins are meant to uphold justice and righteousness, and it's like that is a very common misconception on two things for paladins. One, that they have to be lawful good all the time.
They do not.
They do not. And two, that a paladin gets their power from their god. They technically don't. they get it more so from their belief, from their
oath that they have to
well, I mean, they technically get it even before their oath, mechanically, but it is their belief in a symbol or a thing, because it's charisma.
I mean, obviously, you piss off your god. There's some problems there.
There's going to be issues, because that in essence would technically be something that would shake your own. But that's also where Oathbreaker comes in, because you still get powers even from being an Oathbreaker.
I would argue you would get your power more from the promise you made to yourself.
Exactly.
Within that oath, and because you are so certain and so committed to this, there is a being who sees you, because that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
And they give you the tools to do it better.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
They augment you, because you already have this, because literally, the power of imagination or belief is what gives the gods power. They need worshippers, they need prayers to survive. They can't, otherwise they would die. And so that's literally what I feel like the Paladin in essence is. They are the best people who believe the hardest and the strongest.
And not even, most of the time, yes, it's going to be a direct connection. It's going to be something where, yes, you do interact, yes, you were devout.
You definitely talk to them, because you are like their avatar, right? You are a person who continues to spread and uphold that god's beliefs, will, or whatever, because you also believe in it so strongly.
Yeah.
But unlike clerics, for instance, they don't teach you or channel their energy through a paladin in the same way. No. Again, it's more like they bolster them and they help them to accomplish what they see as their own potential.
And you can play a pious, righteous, very religious paladin.
So long as it doesn't ruin everything for everyone else at the table.
Don't go all the days of all be racist people.
Yeah, all of that. Don't go full on, conquest.
Crusades.
Yeah, crusade-esque kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you can do it in a way that's tactful and you can still have fun.
Unless maybe you're doing a redemption story thing or something.
Redemption paladin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See, again, but we just turned something horrible into a fun backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, terrible albeit.
But again, terrible things happen in the world,
all over the place.
I don't think anybody should necessarily be afraid to incorporate that stuff, so long as you do it in a way that's hey,
I'm doing
honoring it. Yeah, well, you're honoring it. This is horrible. This is how maybe we can try and make it better. And those moments make the good moments all the better, because it's bad shit happens, and it's okay if that bad shit happens, but it's okay if you are trying to make the bad shit better.
Yes.
At least that's my take on it.
No,
personally.
I like that, because you don't want it to be lawful.
Well, you don't want it to be
terrible.
it's bad, it's terrible. It just ruins the fun of the game for everybody for no reason, and the player usually is just being kind of selfish or ignorant. But moving on to the actual mechanics of the Paladin class, they get a D10 hit die. Again, it's on the upper echelons.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah, there's only one that's a higher. That's the Barbarians. But they get a D10 hit die. They also gain proficiency in all armor as well as shields. They get and all weapons, simple and martial. They get their saving throws are wisdom and charisma. Again, wisdom great, charisma not as really important. But again, it keeps at higher levels. It keeps you basically doing a one shot, you're done kind of thing. Most of the time. They gain skills for athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion.
They're okay.
Yeah, again,
you're not a skill monkey.
No, you're not meant to be. You have many other things that you are granted. Speaking of which, one of your biggest things that you'll probably use plenty, which is helpful most for any campaign, most likely, is your divine sense. Essentially, this allows you to sense the presence of strong evil, like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music. As an action, you basically open up your awareness to detect such foes, basically kind of any extraplanar foes. I usually run it as any extraplanar foes, but it's usually just celestial, fiend, or undead. I think some subclasses allow you to do aberrations, faith, and others.
You know the type, which is nice.
Yeah.
And you can't, the identity, no, but you can also detect the presence of consecrated or desecrated objects, which is, if your DM plays into that side of what evil can be, it can be interesting.
To be fair, it doesn't normally happen.
But it could.
But again, the biggest part about divine sense, like we were talking about earlier with the ranger, is you do know the location
But it's only within 60
of these creatures. But it's within 60 feet. But again, at that point, you would want to know the location too, right? Like, as long as they're not behind total cover. So again, even if they're invisible, you'll still know where they are.
My whole thing was like, you're in a crowd in the middle of a city, and you use your divine sense.
And you sense like a succubus or a vampire hiding.
Yeah, that's not good.
You know?
But now you know where it is.
And you know where it is. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go hunt that thing now. Because you can find it. And that's nice. You can use this feature a number of times equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier. So as long as you increase your charisma, you know, you can use that based probably to a max of 6, if you even get it that high.
I would say, honestly, if you just have a +2 in your charisma, maybe +3, because you're a caster, but you're not really an offensive caster.
Well, it depends, because again, like, certain subclasses I think also help, because you can do a lot of cool, often like spiritual weapon, for instance, for some subclasses.
It has nothing to do with your charisma modifier except the attack roll, right?
Attack roll and damage, I think. You add charisma, you add your modifier to the damage roll, yeah. And again, if you cast it at higher levels, I think it increases the base dice pool, but you also add your modifier to it. So that could help a lot. Spell saves are great. Like if you want to do like command or even compelled duel,
Compelled fun.
That's great. If you wanted to do, you know, anything that maybe helps increase your like healing, like I don't know, cure wounds or something that adds your modifier. So it does help to have a high charisma, because also as a paladin, I think it also applies to certain other effects, but we'll keep going. Lay on hands. Fantastic feature. Lay on hands.
It's probably the best baseline ability.
One of the, for sure. Maybe not the, but definitely on the top.
This is smite.
Like, your blessed touch can heal wounds. You have a pool of healing that replenishes when you take a long rest. With that pool, you can restore total number of hit points equal to your paladin level times 5. So, if you are literally a level 20 paladin, you can have 100 hit points in your lay on hands, and you can expend as much of that as you want per your action. It takes an action to do, but you can literally do as much of that as you want to as many like people as you can touch with your action. Like, so basically, you can even do it yourself. So you get literally an extra 100 points of health.
That's fine. So you can save a couple, and every time someone goes down, you can just with your action. The problem is action economy.
But it's true. But again, like I said, with that, being a spellcaster, you do have a little bit more versatility with your bonus action economy too, which is very nice. But again, it's literally what makes the paladins some of the tankiest classes in the game. They just get free healing. Like
they have good AC. They have good health.
They have some of the best AC, as a matter of fact.
And they have lay on hands. You can also use it using 5 hit points from the pool to cure a target of 1 disease or neutralize 1 poison. This is way more effective earlier on in the game than you will have to deal with it later on. You don't really run into a whole lot of diseases or poisons.
You really don't.
But
you're
you
just
can,
not,
depending on the campaign or depending on where you are.
So many things are resistant or immune to poison. And
but they'll use it on you. That's the idea.
True. And I mean, I guess
I've had people poison some daggers.
No, we've been using poison a bit in our campaign too, to be fair. But it's just like
it won't come up often, but when it does, guess what? You're right there.
Yeah, and they are also at level 2, completely immune to disease. Ridiculous. As well as their fighting style, they get defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, protection. All decent fighting styles overall, especially.
I mean, they're all the ones that you're going to be using.
Yeah, and most of them are passive, which is nice. Like they just help make you a better melee combatant.
If you want to do damage, you have both your sword and board and your great weapon.
Yep.
For just raw damage. If you want to go defensive, you can just take a bonus AC.
Yep.
Or use protection. Don't use protection.
No, don't do protection.
Only go in raw.
Yeah.
Just don't use it.
Ever not. Who cares about protection? That does nothing.
It's arguably a bad fighting style.
It really is. No, it legitimately is just bad. It's because again, so
how often, in concept, for a protective frontline fighter, it sounds wonderful.
You think?
You know what's better? Take a better fighting style, get the sentinel feat, and then no one, once you attack them, can go anywhere.
Yeah, they can't run, and you can get free damage on them if they don't attack. There's no reason
to take protection, because you're never going to be within 5 feet of a monster and one of your friends.
Because usually you'll try to flank it. You'll try to flank, or you'll get wherever else.
You don't even want your friends to be close to them because they're not melee fighters.
And not just that, but all it does is it imposes disadvantage. It's not even a thing where you protect. There are other fighting styles that, I think the fighter actually gets. It's hey, you increase your friend's AC, or you direct that attack to you instead.
This is not it.
It's like, oh yeah, you impose this advantage. Maybe that might work, but probably not. And you also have to be wielding a shield. So if you're using a two-handed weapon, it's completely useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. But moving on, now we come to your bread and butter, much like the rogue's ability. I mean, well, we already knew spellcasting. That's just basically lining up all the spell casting. But I'm specifically referring to your Divine Smite.
It's the best one.
This, as well as, to be fair, Lay on Hands, again, is awesome. But Divine Smite is what defines the Paladin.
Completely.
Divine defines. And starting at 2nd level, you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack. At any point, you can expend 1 spell slot to deal radiant damage to the target in addition to the weapon's just normal damage. The extra damage is just baseline 2d8 for a 1st level slot, plus it increases by 1d8 for each spell slot higher than 1st to a maximum of 5d8. Plus, you can get an additional if you're doing this to an undead or a fiend for a maximum of 6d8. And that's not even including any other additional bonuses to your attack or your weapon that you put on it before you smite.
Yeah.
So you can literally get a freaking d8. If you put down an actual spell smite on it, and then put you have a freaking flame tongue weapon with an extra 2d6 fire damage.
Yeah. So you get 4d6 from the regular weapon, an extra d6 from the smite. And then an extra up to 6d8 from Divine Smite.
Yeah.
And so you can really... And you crit?
You crit.
And whether your table does double the dice number...
You have literally smited this creature. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. Yeah. They're not coming back. I would even say, flavor-wise, you would just disintegrate them. They would just turn to ash.
Depending on what you're playing and what level you are in the campaign, there were times I had a Barbarian Paladin... I did 99 damage in 2 attacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just... They can get real... You basically nuke somebody.
Literally. It's a straight-up nuke on a one individual creature where you just boosh explode.
It's awesome. And you don't have to use it up unless you know you're going to hit.
That's the thing. It's not it's not with for instance...
a spell.
And you can do it as much as you want as long as you have a spell slot. It's unlike the sneak attack where it's once per round. But it's you can expend it at any time that you know that you hit a creature. You don't have to do it beforehand. You don't have to whatever. It's oh, I hit. I'll do a Divine Smite. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I crit.
I'm gonna do another
Divine Smite. It's just you can just do it.
As long as you have the spell slots. And now, when you're earlier levels as a paladin, it's
a bit more sparing.
You have to pick and choose.
It's a bit sparing because you have less spell slots.
When you get because they're quarter casters,
yes.
So when you get further and further, you get a good amount of smites.
You do.
And it's so fun.
It's some of the best feeling in the world. Where again,
you just drop.
And again, that's why so many people use Warlock Paladin crit fishing build, where you just fish for smite crits
all day.
All day, you just fish for crits,
or you use the Sorcerer Paladin.
Yeah,
where you you smite on every turn because you have more spell slots.
Yep, you have more spell slots to use, and you can get them back.
And you have higher level spell slots, so...
You can give more damage.
You can only get up to the 68 with an undead, but you could still, if you have more spells, you just have more smites.
You just have more smites. You got spells equate to smites.
Yeah.
And more smites means more dead things.
And
for you
dead thing is fun.
Dead things are very fun. I like dead things a lot. Making things dead, rather.
Well, now we get into a lot of the kind of passive...
The more flavor-esque aspects of the class, of which there are many. To start, we have Divine Health, as I said earlier. At 3rd level, a divine magic flowing through you makes you immune to disease.
Cool. I mean, we like that. Sacred Oath. This is...
your subclass right here.
Yeah.
This is when things start getting meaty.
Yeah, you get extra spells based on the oath you pick, and they're always prepared, because while you are a quarter caster, you prepare your magic like a cleric or a druid would.
You do.
At this point, you also get Channel Divinity. Similar to a cleric, it's kind of the same idea, it's just different things you can do. You're allowed to channel divine energy to fuel magical effects. Each channel divinity option provided by your oath explains how you use it.
Yep.
You can use it, and then you must finish a short or long rest to use it again. They have a DC, it's the same as your spell save. 5th level, extra attack. We love extra attack.
Everybody loves extra attack. Who doesn't like to
attacks-
attack more?
2
Honestly,
attacks is better than 1.
attacking once in 6 seconds seems pretty lazy in my opinion.
I want 2.
That always seems stupid. But at 6th level, you get Aura of Protection. Now again, this is where again things start to really pick up. Because whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet of you must make a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus to saving throw equal to your Charisma modifier. So we were talking about that before. You want your Charisma modifier up high because this is just a passive thing. It doesn't turn off ever. Like it's you and basically anyone that you consider friendly within 10 feet of you. You just get better at saving throws. Mm-hmm. Like you just do. And at 18th level, the aura increases to 30 feet. Yeah. So any creature that you are just like cool with, like, hey, I like you, you just get better at resisting bad stuff that happens to you, per your charisma modifier. So that's another reason to try and get that strength and charisma up. 10th level, you get Aura of Courage. Creatures within 10 feet of you can't be frightened while you're conscious. This isn't nearly as big a thing, honestly. Not
Depending
a lot
on
of
your
things.
play, though. Because if you're fighting dragons or vampires or things that have that innate fear, it can be similar to the Bard's Counter Charm, which is usually never good.
No.
But in one specific instance, it can save your life. Because once you get frightened by something, it is difficult if you are not good at getting out of it.
It's true. Again, usually frightened are wisdom saves, so it's like usually most things would be decent, but on some of those who are not,
you'd be surprised how long you can keep a barbarian frightened.
Oh yeah, no,
because
that's who I was thinking of.
Because rage, only for the one specific class.
Only for path, the frenzy barbarian.
Does it have anything to do with frightened?
Yeah.
You could be the angriest motherfucker out there, and you will run. And then you'll lose your rage because you're not attacking anything.
Yeah, the storm taking damage.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, you can still attack. You can still attack something you're frightened of at disadvantage.
Or what if you're too far?
I mean, they got javelins.
Well, still stands.
Either way,
it can be really, really nice in specific situations, and you don't lose anything.
No, I'm gonna say, to be fair, it is a passive.
It's
thing.
just here.
It's just there.
It makes sense because you're supposed to be brave.
Yeah, no, you don't. Your beliefs are unchallengeable. They're unbreaking, right? Like you will not blink in the face of
and also,
evil.
You
or
can't
the
be frightened
abyss.
either, which is fucking awesome.
That's the big thing. Like again, the fact that the aura affects you as well, like that's
same thing with the protection.
It's crazy, so dude.
Then you get what? Improved divine smite?
So your divine smite just get better.
Well, this isn't really the same, but now every single time you attack, you just do an extra D8 radiant damage.
So
that's
again,
raw damage.
That's what I'm saying. You just get a free divine smite. It's
nice
or half divine smite technically.
When you're playing a paladin, a lot of people want to go sword and board. They want to be high AC.
Yeah. So
at level 11, you go from doing 1d8 damage with a sword, and then you smite, to now you do more than a greatsword.
You do 4d8 damage.
Well, yeah, but baseline, if you're just attacking no smite, you go from 1d8 to 2d8.
Sure. Which
now makes it better than a greatsword or a
and
you have one hand.
Many things are not resistant to radiant damage. Like at least many things, most campaigns will probably be fighting will not be resistant or immune to radiant damage, unless you're like doing an evil campaign or something like that.
Even then, this D&D is not like Pokemon. There are not a lot of fire monsters are immune to fire. They don't take extra damage from storms or fucking ice. No.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of things are resistant, but not a lot of things are vulnerable.
And so, like,
a lot of some things are like they're not vulnerable, but it's like some things regenerate unless they take a certain type of damage.
But that's just trolls.
No, it's trolls, it's vampires. I think it's also werewolves. I think it's certain fiends as well. If they don't take radiant damage, they'll heal quite a bit.
Some of the higher level ones.
Yeah, quite a bit if they don't take like radiant damage.
But that's not. You're not going to.
It's not super common.
You're not going to run into something that's immune to radiant.
Yeah, it's very unlikely.
Resistant, maybe.
No, yeah, resistant for sure. Like I said, unless you're like fighting celestials. Then
you shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Unless you're doing like an evil campaign, most things won't be either resistant or immune to radiant. So it's a pretty good bonus, just straight damage. And for the 14th level, it's
and
okay.
one spell on yourself.
You can use an action and one spell on yourself or one willing creature that you
do.
Touch.
That could also be like if you get plane shifted with the attack, where.
Well, plane shift is not.
What is it? No.
Banishment. You could do
end
that.
Banishment on yourself. You can end. What's that one where it throws you into a pocket dimension?
Maze, you could probably do it with Maze, I think.
Because those are things that have to be active on you. If they lose concentration, you
yeah. So banishment technically is the pocket dimension if they're not on this. If they're native to the plane of existence.
There's another couple spells.
But yeah, Maze.
You can end a lot of things on yourself.
But technically speaking, they'd be pretty resistant to being teleported too, which is nice. Yeah. Like, but yeah, there are a lot of things. Anyway. Like I would say, like slow would be great to get rid of. Like,
but you can also do it to a creature, another creature.
That is true.
Which is nice.
And it's not a save either.
No.
Oh, but it has to be a willing creature, so you can't do it against an enemy. No. It has to be a willing creature.
Yeah.
So you can't like go up and like end like a haste spell on an enemy dude. But still, that is nice. So you can get rid of stuff.
You get a good amount of uses
with
your
charisma modifier.
Again, you have to spec in a charisma to do any of
this. It's a big, again, they're all about their force of will, almost even more so in a lot of ways than being martial. Like even more so than like hitting things. They like even that passage that I read is like their magic is kind of what suffuses them and makes them as amazing as they are. And yeah, we already said aura improvements at 18th level. The range of your aura increases to 30 feet. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, one thing again that I love about paladins
is that there's like 18 of them to choose from.
That, but also that they're one of the very few classes that their capstone ability of 20th level are actually good.
Well, they don't have a 20th level improvement.
No, they do for subclasses. Their subclasses are all their 20th level.
Way.
Yeah. For this, paladins are a bit different, that their subclasses are their capstone 20th level abilities. And a lot of them are actually really good. And it's like, they're very few where you're like, again, when you reach 20th level and you're finally like, I'm an archmage druid, and you get, I get 6 sorcery points back for a short rest. 4 sorcery points back for a short rest. No, paladins kick ass mostly, not all of them. But for that, we'll also jump and we'll go into the subclasses because that is where you get a lot of cool stuff and that juicy 20th level thing. So to start, I'll start this one if you don't mind. Probably my favorite subclass for paladins, it's gonna be probably like a mixture between vengeance and conquest.
So, love vengeance. I have a soft spot in my heart that I've wanted to run one of these forever, which is Oath of the Ancients.
All my friends doing Oath of the Ancients. Because it's a cool one.
Because they are the team buff.
Yeah.
Like,
hey guys, let's all have a great time. Let's all love nature.
I always looked at it as like they've been like they've been in the woods for so long that they're like, oh, can you do that for me? Oh, okay. And then I like go do something and I come back and like, anything. Oh, okay, I'll sit here then. Like they're just so kind of weird, but like in fighting, they get resistance to spells as an aura.
They do.
What the
crazy.
You get Undying Sentinel. You just don't die.
They're
and you can't.
They're awesome.
You don't get old. Like you don't suffer the drawbacks of old age, and you can't be aged magically.
Yep.
And then when you're level 20, you be a tree people.
I know, right?
It's cool. Is it flashy? No. Is it nearly as good as the Oath of Vengeance, Abjure Enemy, or Vow of Enmity, or the Vow of Enmity?
Vow of Enmity is the Abjure kind of sucks, but the Vow of Enmity is great.
Is great, especially
and then you get the boosted thing of it, and then like on top of that, if you get your Avenging Angel. And you just get flying speed. And you have this for an hour, which is awesome. You get flying speed, and you're able to have a menacing aura and the like. Again, though, for me, I will say like even though Conquest is not one of the best, I also just have a soft spot for it, and I love it in terms of like a lot of the cool flavor that can really go with it. Because it's like I'm always like, this could absolutely be like an evil paladin kind of thing, but I'm also like you could also kind of do a good paladin for it too in a way. And it does get
the Aura of Conquest is so good.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty awesome. Where it's like if you have the Aura of Conquest itself,
rebuke.
Yeah, you just literally the aura extends. If creatures fighting over you, its speed is reduced to 0, and you can use your Channel Divinity to try and make it frightened. I also do love the Guided Strike, bro. I made a paladin. I paired this with Great Weapon Master.
Yeah,
to guarantee a +10 bonus to the damage. Like, it's literally only like a -5 to the roll at that point. I'm sorry, it's a +5 to the roll because you get -5 for Great Weapon Master, but you still get +5 immediately to the hit. So it's like, you're almost gonna get it hit anyway and get that plus 10. It's fantastic. And yeah, to be fair, it is like there are a lot of things that are maybe immune to frightened or that have a frightened thing. To be fair, like especially if you're fighting creatures, a lot of creatures don't necessarily get frightened. But it definitely is like, hey, if you can get that and if you bolster up that frightenedness a bit, their speed is reduced to 0, and it takes psychic damage equal to half your paladin level if it starts its turn there, within 30 feet at max level, and it's going to be take 10 damage of psychic damage just each time it's within your aura.
I mean, Scornful Rebuke
and it just takes psychic damage every time it hits you. Like, that's great. Like, you know, and Invincible Conqueror is probably, I think, maybe the best 20th level capstone for paladins. You have resistance, and it's for a minute, but you have resistance to all damage. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can make one additional attack as part of that action, so you get 3 attacks, just straight up. Your melee weapons score on a critical hit of a 19 or a 20. So you literally, as the things that you kind of become an Invincible Conqueror, like, and think about that on top of it, like you have a nice wizard or sorcerer friend who casts haste on you. You have resistance to all damage, so you're a bear totem barbarian.
Yeah.
And without even having to worry about psychic resistance.
Yeah.
You could do a total of 4 attacks with haste on you. And you score on a 19 and a 20.
Yep.
That's fantastic, dude. Like,
yeah.
That, again, that might be the best, like, that's one of the best capstone abilities in the entire game, but I think probably of the paladin, probably the best of all the paladins. But yeah, you know, that's it for the first batch of their D&D introductory class course.
We still have a fair amount to work.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there are a lot, and again we also drone on like constantly too, to be fair. So I'm sure we just double that time, if not quadruple it, with how much we fucking talk. But yeah, I mean I'm glad. I hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. We're going to go ahead and take a break a bit, and we'll probably come back with a part 2 to finish up the rest of these. Thanks so much for tuning in, as always.
Thanks for listening to us.
Yeah, we certainly hope you stayed for as long as we've been here. But yeah, thank you once again for coming and joining us at the Arcane Archive presents MetaTalks, and we'll talk to you guys real soon, okay? Peace.